Up like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show, weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillar. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media, and you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead, hit that like button, because you already know what time it is. And you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've seen other people do it well. But what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this, and it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks, today we're going to have a great conversation. I'm sure this is going to be very interesting. All right, we're going to deal with a concept that has been out there for a good period of time. And you will hear people say this again and again and again and again. And y'all, I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. Just me being realistic, I don't believe it's going to stop anytime soon. We're going to deal with this concept that Black men should become better for Black women. Okay? That's what we're going to deal with today, y'all. Black men should become better for Black women. But I want to let's get deep into this and see if this truly needs to happen, because, you know, it's always good to hold a mirror up to yourself. It's always good to see what you can figure out. But before we go too far into that, I got to say, look, I thank everyone who makes this channel successful. I thank everyone who do that. Those who come by and give me views, I appreciate y'all. Even the folks that hate watch, hey, I still appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Because some of y'all gonna be some haters, but You can listen to some of the things that haters say, see if it has some merit, and man, that could make you a better person. See if the haters are hating with some merit or they just hating to be hating. It's different. There's a difference. If they hate with some merit, you can improve yourself. All right. But shout out to all the quote unquote fans, okay, that come through and give me the views. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. I definitely appreciate everybody who take the time out to make comments after the stream. Okay. Positive, negative, whatever. Like I said, if you hate with some merit, then I can actually take something into consideration. Now, some of y'all just gonna hate for the sake of hate. I ain't gonna worry about y'all. But if you can hate with some merit, okay, cool. When great people, or when you try to put out a great product, you want to improve. So you don't have no problem with that. You have no problem with that. All right. Now, also, shout out to the people who hit that like button. Because I told y'all that's a very, very important thing. It's a very, very important thing. So thank you for hitting that like button. Please make sure you hit that like button. And they got something new that I ain't really even looked into. And I don't even know if I ever really will, but it's something about hyping you up. So if y'all see something about hype a person, whatever, just use it, man. They say it helps the channel, and YouTube is saying it helps the channel. So, hey, hype me up, okay? Real talk, hype me up. But also, thank you to the financial contributors, because I cannot say enough good things about these people, because they step up to the plate and do the major thing, okay? They do a major thing by being a financial supporter, and it allows me to do things the way I do them. And I do appreciate y'all for that. Okay. Do appreciate y'all. And all money on the wood is good at the Roger Report Live. So shout out to SOS, the interpreter. He is the sponsor of today's stream. Shout out to SOS, the interpreter. He done joined us a couple times. So definitely appreciate the brother. Definitely appreciate the brother. Real talk. Okay. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. And let me say, y'all know how it goes. If you quick, it ain't gonna work. Hey, if you come too quick, it ain't gonna work. But you can't show up late either. You can't show up late either, or you gonna miss it all together, y'all. You gonna miss it all together, because only one. There can only be one. What is this? 2 days in a row for my main man, Trail Billy. Again, y'all, there can only be one, and Trail hogging it up right now. Trail is hogging it up. He is the Highlander of today's stream. Shout out to my man, Trail Bentley, representing like he does. Hashtag long live the habitual line steppers. Hashtag Negroes in the wilderness. Hashtag dignity over vagina. Hashtag Al Gore's baby. And my personal favorite, hashtag El Hydra. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Glad to see you. Glad to see you. We got Kevin 3905 in the building, y'all, and he's the inspiration for this show. But one of the comments he made, because this had to be done, y'all. This had to be done, if you ask me. It had to be done. We got Afro Merchant in the building. What's going on, my brother? Great to see you. Great to see you. We got Gold P in the house. Shout out to you, my brother. Floyd Thompson is here. Yay, yay. Glad to have you in the building. Boot Camp just pulled up a seat at the cool table. Great to see you. Great to see you. Patrick Saint is here. Shout out to you, my brother. Inspire Truth Broadcast is also in the building. Great to have you. Great to have you. Chef Mike's Roundtable, representing for the pit crew. The pit master himself is here. All my hoes demonetized is on deck. Great to see you. Great to see you. Chris W. back in the house. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Okay, we got Tunnel Runner in the building. Capri 10 is also in the house. Hey, I appreciate that compliment. He said, y'all, this a real man show. Hey, appreciate that, my brother. Appreciate that, my brother. Real talk. Okay. Shout out to Dolomite is in the building. All work, no play is also here, y'all. And that's what I'm about to do. We're going to put some work in right now, y'all. We're going to put some work in right now. I want to see something right quick, though. Trail Bentley says, last birthday, she got a new sweater. Put it on, gave her a kiss to tell her, do better, okay? Shout out to Trail Bentley. Now, I can't sing it, okay? I can't sing it like that. My singing ain't all that, y'all. My singing ain't all that. But y'all get it. Y'all get it. Shout out to Mr. Bentley in the building, okay? Shout out to Mr. Bentley. Y'all, we gonna get into this concept. And y'all, we do need to take this serious. And I do take this serious, okay? And I do think there's some real things that need to be done in this arena. We got a whole country that runs a constant campaign that trashes black men. All right. So I cannot say that this is not a concept that needs to be dealt with. We got a whole country. Okay. If you live in the United States of America, now shout out to all my people listening from around the world. Love and appreciate y'all too. But see, if you live here in the United States of America, or maybe you're somebody who ended up moving somewhere else, but you lived here for a good amount of time first, you understand there is a whole, not just a media machine. This entire country is always trying to pick at black men to put them in the worst position in people's minds. Because you can control the minds, you can control a lot about what people gonna do. Because people do things according to what they believe. If you don't believe me, think about how many times you heard a story about a person who was on drugs and they believe they can fly. Now, they were in an altered state of mind because of drugs they happened to be doing. When they weren't high, they did not believe that they could fly, and they never attempted to. But when they were high, they did believe they can fly, and they attempted to. Now, y'all might say, well, why is he using an example of a person on drugs? The point is, you make moves according to what you believe. Okay? When you're not in an altered state of mind, you cool. You in an altered state of mind, sometimes you think you can fly. And when you think you can fly, it doesn't make sense not to attempt to do so. That's what you got to realize, y'all. If a person believes they can fly, it don't make sense to not to attempt to do so. Okay? It's a little different than that song. Now, R. Kelly sang a song, I Believe I Can Fly. He wasn't talking about like the person on drugs. The person on drugs thought they physically could fly. R. Kelly was talking something more in a proverbial sense. Now that the guy who was high, he said, I'm high. I know I can fly. You don't believe me? Watch this. You don't believe me? Watch this. And unfortunately, some of those folks came to their bitter end because they really believed in their heart that they could fly. You're going to do stuff according to what you believe. It's just real talk at the end of the day. Okay? I've told y'all time and time again, if you don't know, your subconscious rules you. Okay? What you believe, it's in there. Okay? And it's going to manifest itself through all types of ways. But your subconscious is going to rule you. All right? That's why you got to make sure you're putting great things into your conscious, because that's what's going to overtake your subconscious. All right? Whatever you put the most in your conscious, is going to have a real effect in your subconscious. Your subconscious will have an effect on how you live your life, because you're going to do according to that subconscious. You may do some things consciously here and there, but most of your life will be done in your subconscious. So make sure your conscious is right, so your subconscious will be right, so your actions can be right. But we gotta deal with this thought process that is pushed into America's subconscious. Okay, America has a subconscious that black men need to do better. Okay, America pushes the idea that black women don't perform well because of black men. They have pushed that idea for a long time. I don't believe they have any plans on stopping. And I'm saying America, because I'm not saying some person on the internet. Okay. Social media being truly used is still relatively new. Okay. Social media really became a thing around 2014. Of course, it existed before 2014, but it really turned into a thing around 2014. Okay. So it just did its, well, it hasn't even done its first 20 years yet. So relatively speaking, it's still new. Okay. So not just talking about some folks on social media. And a lot of people, they blame social media, even though social media ain't really been around long enough to truly do things to people. A lot of folks do blame social media. It ain't old enough, man. It ain't old enough. All right. The people on social media, most people on social media is just repeating something they heard from mainstream media. If you want to be real about it. Okay. Most people on social media is just repeating stuff they learned from mainstream media. Social media just ain't old enough to have had the impact that a lot of people say that it has. It hasn't. Okay. Most folks training is from mainstream media. All right. Then they get out and they start regurgitating some stuff they heard from mainstream media. And a lot of them think it's their own ideas. That's the crazy part. A lot of them do think it's an original idea, even though they heard it time and time again on mainstream media. They also heard it in their education. Okay. And education is part of that process. So we have an entire country that's bent on making sure you think poorly of black men and telling you black men that is not doing enough. They are not doing enough. Now, is there truth behind that? Well, that depends on how you think about it. You know, because the good way to sell a lie is throw a little bit of truth in it. Okay, the good way to sell a lie is to throw a little bit of truth in it. Now, what does a black man need to do for black women? Because let's keep it real, y'all. One man can't handle all of them by himself. So we got to think about this from a realistic standpoint. I can't marry every black woman. Okay, if I married every black woman, I'm not gonna even know their names. Okay, it's too many of them for one guy to handle. It's just way too many for one guy to handle. But now, can black men marry women from an individual standpoint and do things for black women? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, black men could. So now a lot of folks, we're going to look at how black women suffer. And for some reason, a lot of black men just don't accept that black women are suffering due to how things work. They're supposed to suffer. If someone has to suffer and you as a group are an unmarried group in America because of how America is. Now, I know there's countries that are similar. Okay, not quite the same. It's always a little bit different when you go to a different country. But there are other countries out there that are free. Okay, black women can get married. They can. This is not a country where they cannot get married. Now, if you can do something and you're not doing something as a collective, is it by force or is it by choice? Realistically, it's by choice. Okay. Now we understand if somebody forces you to do something, that means you really don't have a way to pick for real. Sometimes you choose by default because everything's a bad choice. There are times in life where there's nothing but bad choices in front of you. But when you look at black women in America, these are some very free women, very free. All right, they can do a lot of things that they want to do. They can engage in plenty of activities that they want to engage in. They can pretty much live the lives that they want to live in certain contexts. As long as they're not, quote unquote, hurting other people or damaging other people's property, they legally can pretty much do what they want to do, long as you can afford it. Okay. So a lot of people look at black women as a collective, and then they start looking at black men as a collective. And we, as a country, we spin this narrative as if we're connected. Black men are not married to black women. Let me make this clear, folks. Okay. I understand this may sound controversial, but let me make this clear to people. Because, there's people who need to approach this in a very different way. And I got to also break it down because there's other people who listen to me and then they go on their platforms and do what they do. And I don't want them to butcher stuff too much. In reality, black men and black women, we don't rock with each other. Now, I'm not saying that this is good or bad at this moment. I'm just saying what it is at this moment. At this particular moment, I'm saying what it is. We don't rock with each other. And people may say, well, what are you talking about, man? Because in reality, when black men get married, we usually gonna marry a black woman. I can't argue with that statement. That's a very, very true statement. When black men do get married, they do usually marry a black woman. And a bunch of married people, you understand, rock with each other. It's not a mystery. Yeah, married folk rock with each other. But now when we look at black folks, let's ask ourselves a tough question. Are black folks married to each other? See, you can say when black men get married, we normally marry black women, and you would be telling the absolute truth. I cannot argue that. But there is a real issue here that black men like to get married. And the truth is, most of us, we waste a lot of years, including myself, trying to find the right black woman to marry. And we had not realized as a collective that she was not out there. She was not out there. There's a reason a minority of black women prove themselves good enough to be a wife. I'm going to say that again. There's a reason that black women in the minority prove themselves to be a wife. What is that reason? It's because most of them aren't good enough to be a wife. It's not rocket science. I know somebody thought I was going to say something super, super in depth. Probably I was going to put some out there what you got to do some type of trigonometry or whatever. No, it's simple. This simple addition and subtraction. This ain't even multiplication, y'all. This is simple. The reason we didn't marry them, because most of them didn't prove they was worthy of marriage. It's that simple at the end of it. Everything does not have a complex answer. Okay? Everything don't have a complex answer. Now, you can go into some whys. Now, you go into some whys, yeah, you can get all types of reasons of why. The answer to a why can be very complex when you start breaking down individual things, but you can sum it all up and just say most black women have not proven themselves worthy to be a wife. Now, let's think about this. Does the average black woman think it's her job to prove herself worthy to be a wife? Uh-oh. Oh. What about that there? Does the average black woman think it's her job to prove herself worthy enough to be a wife? Because if you gonna tell me the answer is no to that question, then how don't you believe that the average black woman has not proven herself worthy to be a wife? If they don't even think they got to do it, why would she do it? Now, what I just said about your subconscious is what rules you. See, you can do things at a conscious level. I'm never going to say you're not going to do something at a conscious level, but most of our lives are lived in the subconscious. The only person who got to really do stuff at a conscious level for the most part are small children. Because they don't have a bunch of thoughts to run their subconscious yet. So they got to do things at a conscious effort. A small child got to consciously try to walk. A small child got to consciously try to keep a spoon in their hand so they can feed themselves. A small child consciously have to go through effort to put their clothes on. They're using conscious thought a lot. But over time, subconscious takes over. Just is what it is. Now you can always retrain your subconscious, but you got to make a conscious effort, which remember, y'all, your conscious don't rule you. It's your subconscious. But you will have to now make a conscious effort to change your subconscious. So when you look at Black women who do not believe that it is their job to prove themselves worthy to be a wife, it's not that hard to figure out that the average Black woman isn't trying to prove herself worthy to be a wife. Now, the thing is, people want to talk as if we're attached people. Black folks are not attached anymore. We had our day. Don't get it twisted. We had our day. Black people knew how to love each other in some very terrible situations, which is why it's so disheartening that if Black people love each other properly through slavery, it makes no sense that we can't love each other without it. Okay? If we could love ourselves properly through segregation, and I'm gonna say it's half and half, because people say it's all kind of stuff was happening during Jim Crow, and yeah, there's proof that all type of stuff was happening during Jim Crow. But I think at least half of us was loving ourselves properly through Jim Crow. So now that Jim Crow has come to an end, a little time that went by, and now you can plainly see that Black folks don't love themselves properly. When I'm talking about the men to the women, we don't love ourselves properly as a group of people anymore. So we become different groups of people. And a lot of people believe the answer to Black women's issues is Black men need to get better. Straight up, I don't believe that's the answer at all. I think we have too much proof at this point that that is not the answer. Okay? Black women do want Black men to be leaders when it's convenient for them. As long as you can put them in a situation where they believe their life is better, they want you to be a leader. But if you put them in a situation where they believe you actually are going to impede them from doing something they want to do, they don't want you to be a leader in that moment. So Black women want Black men to be leaders only moment to moment. The moment that it matters to her, but she wants you to stop the moment it doesn't matter to her. If she can handle it herself, she don't need you to be a leader. If that's just what it is. If she believes she can handle it herself, she don't need your leadership. She don't want your leadership. She don't want nothing to do with your. She don't even want you talking about leadership. But that moment that she needs some help, she wants you to come in as a leader and solve her problem. So she wants leadership a la carte. It is what it is. And as a Black man, you're supposed to figure it out every moment when she wants you to leave versus when she don't. And if you can't figure that out right, somehow it's your fault. Okay, you can't read her mind. It's your fault. That's the way she looks at it. And a lot of Black men have tried to do that dance, and that dance don't work. Okay, it didn't work for Barack Obama. Now we could say a lot about Barack Obama. People would take shots at Barack Obama. People would bring up that he half white. People would bring up the fact that he had some white grandparents who raised him. You can say whatever you want to say about Barack, but who is Michelle? Michelle see Barack as a nigga. Now Michelle do try to perform well in public. I'm giving her credit for that. She tries to perform well in public, but on public spaces, public areas, public platforms, she done did it. She done did a number here now on Barack. Now I'm gonna say shout out to Michelle, because Michelle is Barack's problem. She's not my problem. She married to Barack. That's Barack got to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? He married her. That's his woman. And how she represents him in public is, hey, that's between them at the end of the day. I don't have to solve that problem. She's already accounted for. I ain't got to solve that problem. That's on Barack at the end of the day. Black Guru said something the other day, y'all, that I don't think a lot of y'all heard. It's something that I've been saying for a while myself. He said, I blame all them bees. He said, I blame the husbands of all them bees that's out there messing up. That's what he said. which is the right way to go about things. See, once a woman get married, I got to look at her husband. I got to look at her husband like, hey, bro, this is a you thing. Why you got your woman out here doing this? She represents you, brother. Now, if she represents you in a way that you don't appreciate, what you gonna do about it? That you gotta solve that. I can't do nothing with that. That's your wife now. I can't fix your wife. It is what it is. Okay. Once you get married to a woman, that's what you take on. When she start messing up, that's a you thing, man. I can't fix your. I ain't supposed to be worried about trying to fix your wife. You're supposed to be doing that. Okay, I know a lot of people was coming at my man Russell Wilson about how Sierra doing public. I don't really come at him because she married to him now. Now I can talk about something, but I'm not really gonna come at people too hard. When you marry them, hey, that's you. That's on you. Now I can give you some suggestions if you want some suggestions. Possibly throw out a little bit of advice here and there, whatever. But once you married her, bro, that's on you. And real talk, whatever she out there doing to represent you and your family, bro, you got to solve that. You got to solve. Now, there is nothing wrong with a man going to another man to get some ideas about how to work with his wife. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's ultimately his responsibility. And unfortunately, there's a lot of men who don't do things like that because we're told by women, if you get advice from another man, you acting like that man your daddy, which is some of the dumbest things ever to do. And you know what? It shows how messed up a lot of women got men. Because when you tell me that I'm treating some man like he my daddy, what you're doing is you're giving that man the greatest compliment that you can give to him, as far as I'm concerned. When you can say that man is acting like my daddy, you're not making me feel ashamed. You're giving that man a high compliment. Because ain't no man walking this earth right now gonna come before my dad. You giving him a high compliment. A lot of people don't get that. But see, that's when you've been trained the right way and you got the right thing. See, I let my subconscious rule me without a problem. I just make sure I make a conscious effort to put the right things in my subconscious. Anybody you gonna compare to my dad, hey, salute to that man. That's all I can tell you. Salute to that man. I'm not offended. Okay. I take advice for anytime the advice sounds good. Okay. Once I can wrap my mind around the fact that whatever they saying sound good, I'm gonna take that advice. That's real talk. I don't stress about it. I ain't gonna never be a lesser man by taking advice from a better man. But women who happen to be black tell black men that that's a bad idea. How is it bad for me to take advice from a better man when I can see that he's better? And I'm not saying overall. We all got something good about us. We all got something about us that ain't so great. So if somebody can make me a better person, why would I not take the advice? That sounds like trying to graduate without going to school. That's what that sounds like. What you need to do is not go to school and still graduate anyway. That's what you need to do. Yeah, I understand they got some teachers in the building. I understand they're going to give you the fundamentals on how to read and write. I get all that. But what I want you to do is graduate without going to school. I want you to graduate without turning in that piece of paper, okay? I don't want you doing no homework. I don't want you studying. I want you to graduate with honors, okay? That's what I also want from you. See, that's the type of stuff black women tell black men all the time. They tell us this as men, and they tell us this as boys. I want you to come out summa cum laude, but you better not ever bring a book home. Okay? Well, mama, how I'm gonna read if I can't bring the book home? You could do all that while you there, but really you shouldn't do it while you there, because you my child. You just smart. Well, mama, I mean, I could be smart, but I gotta learn the principles of math to do the math. How am I gonna do the math if I don't know the principles of it? You better just get it through osmosis, because you my son. Okay. Well, mom, I got to write a paper. How am I going to know how to read and comprehend if I don't do none of the work? You better just sit there and listen and just get it through osmosis. Mom, I got a term paper coming up. Okay. I can barely spell my name. You better get it through osmosis, and you better come out summa cum laude when you get to college. Okay, I don't. How's that supposed to actually work in practical everyday life, man? But how are we gonna use it? It makes no actual sense. It makes no actual sense. But black women do tell me in a bunch of dumb stuff that makes no logical sense whatsoever. They don't require logic. Okay. Now, did I say women don't have logic? No, that's not what I said. I said they don't require logic, which is a totally different thing. So, y'all, black men got to learn to be real with themselves. Now, their ideal is that we need to improve ourselves for the betterment of black women. Now, I'm going to say personally, I don't see how. Because what I've noticed is there are a lot of women who are married who do not have problems. They don't have any real issues. Now, how do I know they don't have any problems, any real issues? Because ain't no man telling me about their problems and their issues. No man is needing my assistance to help him with his wife. Now, that may sound crazy to folks right offhand, but no, you think about it. When men's wives have problems that they cannot handle on their own, they go to other men and they get those problems solved. I don't care how big the problem is. I don't care how small the problem is. That's how men solve problems. They do it themselves. If that problem is beyond them, they talk to other men. Have you ever lived in a home and the lights didn't work properly? Okay. Now your man, and you know what? I'm going to say, we're going to make it nice, y'all. Your man is a lawyer. Okay. That's for the few women that listen. Your man is a lawyer, top-notch lawyer. Okay. I'm gonna be kind. You got a top-notch lawyer that's your man. Y'all live in a nice house, nice neighborhood, the whole works. You got twin businesses outside. Okay. Y'all doing the thing. But you got a problem as a woman because hey, you a stay-at-home wife. You ain't got to go work and do squat. Okay. You don't leave the house to work at all. But you got a problem. What's the problem? Y'all got issues with the lights. So what do you do as a woman? You tell your man you got issues going on with the lights. So what does a man do? He gonna either come home and fix it himself. Now, if he's a lawyer, that's a pretty good possibility that he doesn't necessarily know how to fix the issues going on with the lights himself. That's a huge possibility. Not saying he can't, because you don't know how he grew up, but we can understand that he may have an issue when it comes to electrical work. So what does that man do? Well, that man, he gets a hold of an electrician. Now, why does he want the electrician? Because he's still going to take care of the problem. He's still a leader. But a leader ain't got to know everything. So we going to get us an electrician. Electrician going to come over. He going to handle that business. You know what I'm saying? We going to pay that man. Everybody's good. Small conversation. You offer the guy a soda or something. Offer him a coffee. he put the work in. Problems go away. Okay? That's what happened with wives. Now, let's say the people poor right now. They poor. They some younger folks. They just got married. They 21 years old, just got married. Heck, he got her pregnant, married her, so his baby can be born to a couple in wedlock, which is something black men do. Okay, so now you got your baby born in wedlock. Y'all 21 years old. Y'all ain't got no real bunch of money, but you got an electrical problem. What y'all gonna do? What y'all gonna do? Well, at this point, you're probably renting. So what the man gonna do? His wife say, babe, we got an electrical problem up in here. These lights don't be working. Now maybe she stay at home because they just got married. She pregnant. It just ain't a good time for her to try to work nowhere. Wait till you had a baby, then try to get a job. So what you do? You tell your man, baby, the lights ain't working. What's the man got to do? He got to go deal with the landlord. Now, I'm not saying the landlord gonna want to do what he need to do. The landlord probably not gonna want to do what they need to do. Okay. Well, I don't want to say probably, but when you're younger, this is a higher possibility that the landlord gonna want to try to play you a little bit. It's a higher possibility at that time. So the landlord want to shuck and jive about getting the lights working. But what happens? That man gonna get into it with that landlord. Okay, it ain't gotta go super far, but it possibly could go far. And the thing is, we gonna get that problem solved. Now, let's say he's a man, but he's talking to the landlord, and the landlord ain't feeling what he's talking about. Now, I'm not gonna say they finna go get into a physical fight or anything like that. But what he gonna do? You can call your dad. You can call your uncle. You can call some other man that you good with who's older than you. And you tell that man, hey man, me and my girl over here at these apartments. Okay, I got this baby coming. My lights ain't working. Okay, what should I do? Now he can come over there and fix the problem, but he probably won't because it's y'all renting. But he will tell you how to properly handle that landlord. Push come to shove, he'll show up, talk to the landlord himself. Because men, y'all have a network whether you realize it or not. You need to learn how to use your network properly. Okay? And be available for your network. Because men, we do a favor over here, we understand we can get a favor later. It's not no issue like that. It's not like when you're dealing with women. You do a woman a quote unquote favor, man, that don't mean nothing to her. 9 times out of 10, that favor don't mean nothing to her. Okay? See, so we have women who are in bad situations, but they single. What you want me to do for some single woman who's in a situation that ain't so great? Now, people have been telling black men for years that they need to do better. Now, has this ever really been the case? Well, you can say literally everybody can always do better. But when it comes to how black men have been operating in this country, have they ever need to do better for black women? And I'm going to tell you the truth be told, the answer is no. Black men were in slavery doing stuff. I understand the revolts are not talked about the way you would want them to be talked about from a historical standpoint, but they was doing stuff then. Black men literally joined the war to help free black people. Okay? They literally joined the war to do that. Okay? Black men have always done well in school. Black men have become inventors. Black men have led companies. Black men have built cities. Black men do all types of stuff to make things better for black women. Now, do black men get credit for it? Do they get praised for it? Things like that. Now, that's kind of debatable because in a large context, no, we have not truly gotten credit for stuff like that. And that's just real talk at the end of the day. But that don't mean it didn't happen. Now, in today's world, we still have people who say black men need to do better. And Kevin 3905 has just joined us. So I'm gonna let him get in a little bit because this kind of, this stream was, has a lot to do with what he said yesterday. But y'all, this is a concept that does need to be talked about. And again, we need to be able to put the mirror in front of ourselves and say, well, are we doing what we really need to do, or do we need to step it up? So, Kevin, I'm gonna go ahead and let you have the flow right now, my brother. You got it.
All right. This is an unintended inspiration. I either did not get my point across well, or it wasn't understood the way that I meant it. So I want to clear up what I was saying. What I was saying was, I don't think our focus should be solely on women. I think we should focus on improving ourselves for the sake of improvement, not for the sake of pleasing women, not for the sake of improving women's lives and all that other kind of stuff. I don't believe in doing that. because success is going to bring women and other things to you. They follow success. So if you're just successful at being a man, women are going to follow you, and you just choose from the best of the ones that present themselves to you. Um, I believe that black men have done so well, and so much so we're doing better than any other time in history in this country. We don't need to do anything better for them. And truth be told, I think they need to be better for us.
Okay, well said, my brother. Well said. But you know what? The concept is out there that black men need to do better for black women. That is an actual I mean, even though you may not admit it that way, it's a concept that I definitely been meaning to do a show on for a long time and just never did. So
Mm-hmm.
what was said was like, hey, let's get it on out the way. Because it wasn't my show that I was gonna do for today. I had something else planned. But this is a concept that should be talked about. And we gotta be honest with ourselves about, should black men truly do better? Are we doing well enough? You know, we gotta talk about that from a realist standpoint. Not necessarily, you know, I totally get that you didn't intend it that way, which is absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. But I do think the concept itself still should be discussed. You know.
I agree. I agree. I didn't want to derail the show defending my point yesterday because that was not what the show was about yesterday. But I just think black men just need to keep going in the trajectory that we're going. There's a lot of things that we're doing well, just like the Black Manosphere Conclave that just happened. I attended that for the second time, man. There's a lot of positive things that brothers are doing. I just think brothers like you who are doing things to inspire us, and brothers like you, other brothers like you, should continue to collectively get together and continue to push us forward. I do believe black men are going in the right direction. I absolutely believe it, and the productive black men just need to be louder than the unproductive black men. Um, the women, they're gonna show up. I ain't even worried about them. I don't even really pay them no attention until I have time for those who have presented themselves to me. But I do appreciate the topic, though. I really appreciate the topic.
Yeah, because I do think the topic needs to be dealt with, because I've heard so many people say literally that black men should become better for black women. I've heard this time and time again. And Lord knows the women is out here chirping it left and right. I can't remember when I got into a week without hearing some woman say that. And y'all, you know what? I don't know if y'all know about it, but there's some clip going on with Ricky Smiley, and somebody called into, I assume it was his radio show, you know what I'm saying, and talking about, matter of fact, I think it was on Mrs. E might have showed it on his channel, where some woman was talking about black men need to do better. I mean, I hear it time and time and time again. And there are black men who actually believe the reason that men in general, quote unquote, are having issues with black women is because they're not doing better. So this really needs to be examined from a truthful position. And my thing is, I do say, first of all, let's look at who says this the most. And I do believe it's going to be older women. And when I say older women, if you're a woman, older means 30. Point blank, period. You know, and I know that was a big thing when I first said it. And I know a lot of content creators started doing some stuff about 30. But this is why I don't come off of 30. Because as a woman, you're supposed to be able to, you know, a perfectly healthy woman is supposed to be able to get married and have family, children, and things like that. That's not something you want to start at 30 years old. That's something you want to start in your early 20s, based on how our country is and the fact that you got to be at least 18 to be considered an adult. So I'm going to say, since that's the rules of this country, yeah, you should be starting a family, you know, early 20s. Makes sense. Now, if you do it at 18, 19, that's fine. But it's not supposed to be something for 30 plus year old women. 30 plus year old women should be having more kids. They shouldn't be having kids in the beginning. Like, that's, so you're old as a woman when it comes to that. So at the end of the day, a lot of women who are 30 and above, who are old women at this point, I think they're saying this because they're trying to make excuse for the fact that they're losers. And for anybody who does not understand what a loser is a black woman Well, I mean, you can put it for anyone, but a loser is a black woman who lives in America that has never been married. Every man she's ever come across saw her, examined her, and got to the point of saying, no, I don't want to do that. That's a loser. Now, and I'm going to tell y'all why I call them losers. Because honestly, a loser can become a winner. Most winners have lost first. It's very rare for somebody to dominate anything and to never have lost a lot. The greatest basketball player in recorded history is Michael Jordan himself. He helped the team win 6 championships. That man lost 7 times before he won. 7 straight years he was a loser. It's that simple at the end of the day. He the greatest now, but it took him, well, I should say that right. I think he won his 7th year. And his 7th year, I believe, is the first time he won, which means he was a certified loser the first 6 seasons. It took him his 7th year to be a winner. Black women could become winners. I know most of them living today won't become a winner. Not that they don't have the ability, it's their fault. And I think we as black men, we take too much responsibility on what their fault is. And they are losers, not because of black men, because most black women nowadays are going to make it to their 30th birthday without being married. So that ain't on us. They are losers because of themselves. But let me turn it over to Tunner Roynell, because he is here. You got the floor, my brother.
How you doing, Roger? Am I coming in clear?
Yes, sir. Doing great. You're coming in clear.
Okay. Yes, Roger. As you was saying, black men have proven themselves to do, like say, presidencies, championships, billionaires, not billionaires, and black women have proven themselves not to, whatever you do, not be satisfied. No matter how much money you make, no matter how tall you are, no matter how much charisma you have, black women as a whole has been unsuccessful to keep these men. So it doesn't matter. If there's a black female judge, there's a black male judge, there's a black female doctor, there's a black male doctor. So the people are out here doing everything that they say they want them to do. And they are not holding on to those men. They are not getting with those men. They are just talking. It's just talk because these men go other places and find women that appreciate their talents.
Okay, I'm going to say, well said. Now, I'm going to say this, y'all. I'm going to say this. I'm going to do a quick examination of some of the quote-unquote top men, some of the most famous men, some of the richest men. I already brought up Barack. We see how his wife acted. Not a great representation for Barack. Now, I don't look at Barack as lesser of a man because of what Michelle do. But you may wonder why he married her, because the way she acts. You know what I'm saying? Barack does carry himself with some certain level of class, some level of smoothness. You know, he doing his thing. He didn't achieve the quote unquote highest office in the land. He did it twice, never lost an election. You know what I'm saying? He even played the "All I Do Is Win" song at the dinner. You know what I'm saying? And he was right to do so because he has won. He hadn't lost no presidential elections. You can only be president twice. He was able to do that 2 times in a row successfully. Look how Michelle acts in public. So I'm not going to look at Barack like he's not who he is, but I am going to look at Michelle and be like, why he marry her? Now, I understand marriage is a gamble. I'm not going to say that marriage ain't a gamble. It is. You don't really know what people going to do. You can only try to guesstimate what they might do in the future. And I'm going to say Michelle has often I ain't going to say often, but yeah, I'm going to just say often enough, she's definitely given a bad look. Point blank, period. But he president of the United States. Michael Jordan got divorced. His wife at the time got the biggest payout in history, $168 million. Okay. I don't see Mike as a bad guy. He rich as I don't know what at the time. He was so rich that he was able to make a deal to give her 168 million to walk away. 168 million to walk away. Why is that number important? Because most of us will never make 168 million ever. The average person who hears this will be dead before they make 168 million. And he had 168 million to give to her so he could walk away, which I thought was a great deal on his part. And it's definitely proved itself to be a great deal as time has went on. Okay. Will Smith. Okay. One of the most successful men in Hollywood. $20 million man. You want a film? Give me 20 mil. Okay. We see how his wife has treated him over the years. Okay. Now, my thing is, I ain't got to say too much about Jada because she Will problem. Will married her. I don't know why he married her. I look at how Jada acts, and I be like, yeah, Will could have did better. But that's Will's decision to make. So now, I'm just throwing it out there. Even when you have men that excel at a super high level, they still got issues with black women going on. There are so many men who have got into the NBA, got into the NFL, and sometimes their wives acted good throughout their career. Then they at the end of the day, they come to the time where they retire. Now all of a sudden she wants a divorce. So was she with him for him, or was she with him for the lifestyle to be able to say, I'm with a player? Now y'all can make that decision however y'all want to make it. I just believe women do what they do because that's what they wanted to do. So if a guy retires, and and we ain't talking about, I mean, it sounds bad enough that if you're gonna be with a man until he retires, but then now he's retired, now you want to go? Now you want to go? You was with him during the career, but now you want to go when he retired. So was you with him because of him, or was you with him because of what he was doing at the time? And you wanted to say, I'm the wife of a guy doing this. Because that's what it sounded like to me. I ain't got to pull no punches, y'all. I just keep it real. You wanted to say I'm with an NBA player, but in the moment he's not an NBA player anymore, which that's what happened when you retire. Well, now she won't out. Because she never was rocking with him like that. So now we got very rich men, very successful men that this happens to. Now let's go to the everyday brother. Okay. Everyday brothers doing well have trouble with women. They date black women, they run into trouble. You get up, you go to work every day. Some of us got jobs we don't even like. Some of us can't stand going to work, but you got a wife and a family. It's so ingrained in us to make sure that our wives and families are taken care of. When people do a hiring process, they ask you if you're married. Why? So I can hire the married guy. Because when I hire a married black man, I know he just ain't going to quit. I don't care what's going on. It's going to be very rare that a black man going to get so upset about what's going on at work that he just going to quit because he got to go talk to his wife and tell her that he quit. And they know black men don't want to have that discussion with their wife. So how can black men have to do better when we already in a good space? Now, there's always room for self-improvement. I'm not ever going to say black men shouldn't continue to try to improve themselves. Because as long as you're alive, you might as well try to get better. It don't make no sense to not try to get better if you're alive. Well, we don't need to improve ourselves for black women. Even though women keep saying that. Women say, y'all need to do this. Y'all need to get more. Y'all need to have this. Y'all need to have that. Now, let's examine the women saying what we need to have. Do y'all see them trying to help us get it? Ain't it a very common thing that the black woman telling me what I need to already have? I don't see them collectively trying to help us get squat. Okay, now you can find a man who got a good wife here or there. Not gonna say that ain't true, but the majority of black women ain't trying to help black men get squat. You ain't trying to help them get no business off the ground. You're not trying to give him inspiration to start a business. You're not even trying to help get him to work on time. If you talk to a black woman about laying out her man's uniform, it ain't even got to be a suit or something. You just have a job that you wear a uniform every day. You don't have black women who want to help a brother have his uniform ready to go. See, back in the day, they used to do stuff like this. They would lay out a man's uniform for him because he's going to go to work. I'm not even going to go to the guy who got to wear the suit, where she got the iron, his shirt and all that. No, just a guy in a uniform. You know, he just work at a factory of some kind. You know, pick out the uniform, get it ready to go, put some socks on there, some underwear, have his work boots ready. Did you see women trying to do that? And that's just a uniform. I'm not even saying you got to pick out a suit, match this tie with these slacks and all. You ain't even got to do all that. Just a uniform. Somebody else already picked what he's supposed to look like when he show up at work. But she won't even go through that. Go ahead, bro.
Roger, I would say that they would not even help you maintain your situation. If you have a man who's already successful, already has his stuff together, baby, you don't have to iron my clothes. Just pick it up from the dry cleaners. They'll tell you what's wrong with you. Why you can't pick up your own clothes? Baby, I prepared the food. Just put it in the plate for me. What's wrong with you? Why your hands broken? Put it in. So they won't even help you maintain what you already have. A lot of them come to destroy and get what they can get. And it's sorry to say that, but a lot of them are not here, will not even help you maintain what you got. It is very sad.
And I
I,
think
I
that's, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
oh well, I got two quick things. I just had this conversation last night with a black woman. One, black women look for a finished product. They don't believe in going through the process. They want the NBA player at the end of it. They want the business owner who's already successful, already driving whatever kind of car. They want the guy who's got all the bells, whistles, and buttons. And then they think they're supposed to come into a situation like that and call the shots. Whereas other women are understanding how to identify this brother has potential, this brother has talent, and I believe in this brother, and they go through the process with that brother, and they earn his loyalty. That's number one. Number two, the dating strategy that I have observed from black women is to get with a guy, drive him into poverty, and move on to the next guy and repeat, and rinse and repeat.
I'm not gonna say that ain't a strategy because that definitely, I can definitely see that being a pattern for a lot of women. I definitely can see that as a pattern, and that's just real tough, you know. So my thing is, what's the point in being better, and then you get with a black woman who don't even appreciate the fact that you are better? And the thing is, black men, we put too much pressure on ourselves. Y'all heard the talking point, six figures got famous. Okay. Shout out to Kevin Samuels for that because he made that a famous thing. Well, black women talking about six figures. They ain't never wanted six figures, man. Now, real talk, Kevin said that because he was a six-figure man. Okay. Well, honestly, he said he operates with six-figure men. So he didn't even have to make six-figure himself. He said, I operate and I represent six-figure men. So, because I know people throw shots at him and say, I don't even think that nigga was making sense. It don't matter. He was talking to the dudes. Okay. He was representing the dudes. He was doing business with the dudes. Point blank, period. So it doesn't make a difference whether he made it or not. But the issue is, especially with sisters, they wanted a 7 to 8 figure man the whole time. When they think six figures, because a lot of black women don't take the time out to count. And I've told people this several times. When you think about the lifestyle that they asked for, a six-figure man couldn't provide. You would need to make 7 to 8 figures to provide what they actually want. If you just look at the house they want and the other house and the fact that they got to get a new car every 3 years or whatever the case is because she don't want to drive nothing too old, no six-figure man was going to be able to handle it. I don't care if you was making $999,999.99. Okay? Six-figure man couldn't handle what they were requesting. So they never wanted a six-figure man. When it comes to black men, they wanted you to be making 7 to 8 figures. Real talk. because they wanted you to provide a lifestyle that they can dream about. And that's just what it was. And they would tell black men, well, you know what? Y'all need to be better. And before six figures became this thing that they would just throw out there because they just repeated what some man said. Before that became a thing, they kept telling black men, well, y'all just need to do better so we can have this and we'll treat y'all right if y'all was doing better. Every single sign of any brother who did better, we did not see the evidence that black women would start respecting us because we was doing better. We did not see evidence that black women would treat us differently for doing better. Black men have been improving over the years. We literally come from slavery. You don't have to do much to figure out, will they treat you better because you're doing better? We literally came from slavery. How much worse can you do? But we got another guest up, so I'm gonna go ahead and give him the mic. We we have nigga please has the floor with a great avatar going on right now. Nigga please, you got it, my brother.
Shout out to you, Roger. Shout out to the brothers on the channel, on the panel. Shout out to the brothers in the chat. And the reason why I have her face on here is because this is how Michelle responds to Obama every night. Good night, honey. Do you love me? Nigga, please. Hey, honey.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, my man.
So in her fashion, I'm gonna say the same thing. Black men should become better to love black women. I have the same response. Nigga, please. See, fellas, what we're missing here today is we're missing a fundamental thing. There's not anything we can do for their love because their mother made sure that they hated their father. Their mother made sure that they couldn't trust their father. Their mothers made sure that their fathers were not in their lives. And even with the two-parent home like Michelle Obama, right? Michelle Obama's mother definitely told her father in front of everybody, nigga, please. So, at the end of the day, if she can't trust her father, she can't love her father, what in the world do you think you can do for her to love you? And let's reverse this. Niggas love their mom regardless. Crack addict, even though you were a dope fiend mama, you still were my black queen mama. Shout out to Tupac Shakur. Talk about somebody's mama when we were in middle school. That is a guaranteed fight at 3:15. Right? And at 3:30 if you got a detention from Miss Margaret. But that's neither here nor there. The point of the matter is, no matter what we went through, and despite of, black men have almost a psychotic love for their mother. And I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of that shit too. So that's why we can see it being translated to our black women. We can be emasculated, still love them. We can be shitted on, still love them. We can accomplish all these amazing things and then still say, oh, we still need to do better because of our psychopathic level of love that we have for our mothers. And this is why this is why black women can't love us, because the way we love our mothers is the absolute opposite dichotomy and the way they disdain for their fathers. So at the end of the day, when you're asking that girl, what can I do to be better? And she says, well, you need to get your stuff together. You need to get a six figures. Brothers, read between the lines. It's nigga please. Now pass the mic.
I must say, well said, well said. Now I'm gonna say, shout out to the Black Baron. I'm gonna give you a response. I'm not gonna give y'all the real solid reason that I do some of the stuff that I do, because that's not something I really need to give on air. And I get a lot of intelligent people here. Y'all will figure that out yourselves. Okay. But I'm gonna give you some shading of it, some little pieces that you should be able to handle. Okay. The Black Baron. Now, you say, so why not focus on foreign Black women or just foreign women in general? Why give energy to a group of people who don't want to improve? Now, I'm not gonna say you meant this in malice. You know, wasn't the best question, but it's a question that needs to be answered, for because there'll be some slow people out there. Not saying you one of them, but there's some slow people out there. Okay. Number one, I'm not giving energy to them. I'm talking to us as men. If they show up and they want to talk, I will talk to them, because I told y'all before, I do love Black women. Loving them is something I'm required to do. Okay? Because God wants me to love everybody. So I'm definitely going to love them because they're the closest thing to us, but that don't mean I don't see who they are. Okay? That does not mean I don't see who they are. Now, this is the thing. This is the thing. And Black Bear, I'm not trying to insult. He said you aren't slick, but okay. No, I'm not trying to insult you. I'm saying this because you may be asking from an honest position, and because I've seen your name before, you know. But there always gonna be new people trying to, you know, do little stuff. So I'm saying I don't even think you one of those people. I think you were just asking a genuine question. I do believe you were being genuine. So why talk about Black women? And this is where we need to, you know, kind of see things, y'all. And I told y'all plenty of times, if y'all been here for a while, if y'all seen some of my other channels, y'all have heard me say plenty of times that I like doing things in comparison to sports because it makes things easy for people to understand. Let's say you are running a team and you're playing in the NBA. Okay. Are you going to try to figure out how to win consistently against teams who can't make the playoffs? Or are you going to focus on the champions? Are you going to focus on the people who did make the playoffs? Are you focused on the people that can win consistently? But how do I beat those teams? Now, you could focus on the team that didn't make the playoffs. You could. But why would you? Okay? Same thing if you play in the NFL. You gonna focus on the champions? The people who made the playoffs? Or you going to focus on the people who couldn't make the playoffs? Who you going to focus on? Bro, if you're trying to improve yourself, you focus on the people who do it the best. If you a ball player, depending upon your size, your type, if you have the build to play center in the NBA, are you going to focus on Will Purdue? Now, some of y'all may not be thinking who's Will Purdue? See, I remember Will Purdue because he was a starting center for the Chicago Bulls. Y'all may have been forgot who Will Purdue is. Okay? Why would I focus on Will Purdue? I could study Olajuwon. I could study Shaquille O'Neal. I could study Will Chamberlain. I could study the captain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Why would I? And it's no shot at Will Purdue because I love Will Purdue. He helped my team win championships. But if I'm trying to play center, I ain't studying Will Purdue. It just don't make sense. Okay, it just don't make sense. Why would I study Will Purdue? Now, if I can learn how to take out Olajuwon, if I can learn how to beat Shaq, if I can learn to beat Wilt Chamberlain, if I can learn to beat Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I'm already be able to handle Will Purdue. Okay? So people who ask questions like that, it's man, come on, like we gotta, I mean, just ask yourself the question sometime. And you don't even need me to say it. But I don't think the Black Baron was on any map because I've seen his name before, so I don't think he was no hater coming up to start no mess. But I'm just saying, keeping it real, whatever I'm trying to be, I'm gonna try to figure out somebody who done it the best and see if I can pick up something from them that I can use myself. but I'm not looking at the people who lost. I will take them if I cannot figure out who won, but I'm going to choose the champs first. Real talk. Okay? So that's why you look at them. Because who out here in American society operating worse than black women? No one. Ain't no group of women acting worse. So why would I be worried about the other ones? If you learn how to deal with the black women, you can take care of the rest of them. What's some Chinese woman gonna do to you that you ain't seen from black women already? You should see it coming a mile away. And that's just real talk. Okay?
That is the truth. That is the truth.
So when it comes down to it, yeah, black men should do better for ourselves. So we can have more money to enjoy if that's what we're looking for. So we can have more time to enjoy if that's what we're looking for. So we can, train our seeds the right way if that's what we're looking for. Whatever it is that you actually want, Well, hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Let me. Black Rube done said something. He said I would actually study Purdue. Now y'all know Black Rube from Chicago, so this Purdue is our guy. Okay, he was one of our guys. Okay, he said I would actually study Purdue more than Shaq in terms of learning to play the position, but I would study Hakeem more than any other center who has ever lived. Okay, now you know what? I can see your point in that, Black Rube, because Shaq was so dominant. Technically, he could just move people around and wasn't really much they could do about it. So I see your point there. Will did have to learn the skill of playing center in the NBA. So I can see your point there. I can see your point. Okay. Wise, but Black Rule's a wise man. So there you go, y'all. There you go. But I'm definitely studying the dream. That's for sure. I'm definitely studying the dream. All right. I'm definitely studying how to do that sky hook, because that was the shot nobody could block. So at the end of the day, man, if I'm trying to learn stuff about women, I'm coming to black women. I ain't got to worry about no white woman. Okay, whatever kind of white she is, whether she Polish, Scandinavian, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. I'm studying the black woman so I know how to beat them all. And that's just real talk. Okay, I want to be able to beat them all. I want to be a champion. So I'm going to study them. Ain't nobody else finna pull some new stuff that black women ain't pulling. Okay, that's just real talk. Just is what it is. So, but there is this concept out there that we as black men need to improve for black women, because they are suffering because we haven't taken them to where they need to be. How do I take you somewhere if you're not my wife? And I think black men need to start truly repeating this on a regular basis. Where do I take you if you're not my wife? If I'm married to you, people don't really question what I'm doing with you. From a general standpoint, married people ain't question all that much. But if you're not my wife, how am I taking you anywhere? How do I, quote unquote, take you out of poverty if you're not my wife? Now, yeah, technically somebody could, but why would you be expecting me to do that? Between Elon Musk and what's the dude that on Amazon, the Amazon guy, between y'all know what I'm talking about.
Jeff Bezos.
Between Bezos and Musk, they've been trading places on like the richest man in the world, right?
Yeah.
They could take a lot of people out of poverty. They technically have the ability to do it. Okay? They technically have the ability to do it. But why would they?
Well, I think that's the issue here. See, the issue here is black men have this unreasonable request that, okay, because you're black, and because you're black, and you look at black families, black communities, and their definition, not your definition, of single parenthoods running rampant, poor performing boys, is saying that since we are the leaders of this quote unquote community, which we're not, but for the sake of their definition, is that black men don't have their stuff together, because when we look at the community as a whole, it's terrible. But when you look at black men as a subset, we're doing fine. Actually, we're doing better than fine. But see, here is where the problem lies: is that because we're not going to, because we're not taking care of responsibilities that's not our responsibilities, black men need to step up. And that's where I have the problem at, because black men are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Black men have stepped their game up. The problem lies is that you're asking me to fix a problem that is not my responsibility to fix. And that's where the problem lies at. Because single parent households, that is vagina management. Kids ain't not able to read, that is a mother's inability to be a good mother. And I'll pass the mic on that.
Well, I'm gonna say, that's how black men need to really start seeing things. Well, a lot closer. I am gonna say we are the leaders of the community, but when you look at the problems of the community, do you see leaders present? We the leaders, true. So where the women, where they leader at? If you got a problem, why aren't you addressing with your leader? We don't have no man here. Then are you really part of the community?
No, but Roger, she's gonna say I am dressed. I'm talking to you. She's gonna say I am dressing a man. I'm talking to you.
Yeah. I totally get you are addressing the man, and that's why I'm gonna tell woman, have your husband contact me so we can get your issues taken care of.
But see, that's the point. That's the point. That's the problem, right? Is that I don't need a husband for you to be the leader of the community.
And that's absolutely fine that a woman takes that position. But I think the reason it is so powerful because men don't say nothing about it. I will help you take care of your problems. Whatever help your husband needs me, all he got to do is let me know, and we got it. So the thing is, I get where she's coming from, but you don't matter. You don't got no husband. Where your leader?
I agree with Roger 100%. If she ain't got no husband, she ain't got no leader. And if she independent, let her do it on her own.
But that is all black women, because all black women, well, that is 70% of black women are not married, right? And they're going to come and say, well, hey, you're the men of the community. You're the lead, because they're not talking about leadership as individual households. We're talking on nation building level, right? Because I'm not disagreeing with you, but what I'm saying is this: they're coming to you on a quote unquote nation level, right? So black men are not taking care of business on a nation level, because when we look at black people compared to other races and we compare it to education, stuff like that, they're going to use that information and say, well, okay, black men ain't, you know what? Because when we look at statistics, black people are behind.
Now, I mean, the thing is, you make a great point, which is why I'm literally saying black men need to start responding a correct way to nonsense that's being said that's unchallenged. Who builds nations? Men. So if you want to come from a nation building standpoint, fine. Get that man to represent your part of this nation. Where you at? Because I don't know what you need. Because I don't mess with you like that. I don't know what you need. I can guess, but I don't know what you need. I don't mess with you like that. You're not my wife.
And I understand you gotta ostracize these unruly, uncovered women. If it takes an entire generation to do so that they get the point, let them suffer. Let them suffer.
They
So
in America,
I
they have a right to win. If they want to win on their own, have at it.
No, I agree with you, because I agree with you, but this is where I defer. Like my leadership is impeccable. I am not the leader of this mess. That's an insult. Tell me I'm the leader of the black community, my ass.
No. The thing is, you a leader. The problem is you associate people with your community that's not really associated.
Yeah, but I don't see that's where for me it disconnects a little bit, because when we're talking about nation building and race, right? I mean, we still are we're the same race, so you can't say this person is not a part of my race because they're not married. That's
There's
not
a no, but there's a reason white people call other white people white trash, and
absolutely. They're
you don't
still
think as the white trash is what represents white people. It's not what you
no, no,
think
no,
about.
but okay. So let's take that example, right? You have WASP, do you have white trash, but you have white people. White trash is a part of white people.
I'm not saying they're not, but when it comes to building nations in any kind of way or having problem solved, ain't nobody looking to go to white trash to fix it.
Right, but the problem is just that white trash is a subset. They're a minority. Unfortunately, people that think like us are not the majority in the black race.
I'm not gonna say that. I think it's probably split more about half and half. Truth be told, and the thing is, how do you create a dominant position? You gotta set real roles that people can't really argue with. So at the end of the
No,
day, a woman who's single don't have problems. She's fine.
if it was truly half if it was truly half and half, we'll see half of black women and we don't.
No, because honestly, I think most black men are fine. Most black women are problematic. That's what I see. Now people can argue about what they see, but that's where I see it. Because black men live in a society where if you don't do enough of what you need to do, they're gonna kill you, you're gonna end up homeless, or you're gonna be in prison. And that's just the reality of it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, but
that's why
I'm
I
talking
don't think black men are nowhere near the problematic the way people say they are, because we
no, no,
live in a society that wouldn't tolerate it.
no. I'm not saying they're problematic. I'm just saying what I'm saying is how we view the race, how we view nation building. That's what I'm saying.
No, no,
Not
no. No,
problematic.
I do get what you're saying. I'm not saying that you're saying something. I'm just saying because of what black men actually got to live with in this country, to say that we're problematic is nonsense to me. Because if we're problematic, we're dead, we're homeless, or we in prison. So we have to have it together to a certain degree. Point blank, period. If
I
we
agree.
don't have it together, they got something for us at the end of the day. Black
That's
women don't have to be together. So
right.
most of them don't, because they just enjoy what Mr. Z would refer to as negative liberty. They are allowed to do all kinds of nonsense, even if it's gonna hurt them. And at the end of the day, black men ain't married to these women, so it ain't our job to fix that.
But I mean, but that's the question. Uh, but it's race, right? Race is suffering because of it.
Bro, my dad loved black people, but my dad had a wife. He wasn't out here trying to fix everybody's problem. He fixed the problems of selective few. You got to be in the circle at the end of the day. Have a husband at the end of the day. You know what I'm
I
saying? Do we know your family at the end of the day? Do you go to church with us? Do your kids go to school with my kid? Bro, at the end of the day, you got to start making choices. Because like I said earlier, I'm one guy. I can't marry all black women and make sure they okay. And no other guy can do that either. You got to make choices.
I agree with you. I agree.
Okay, well, we got another panelist up, so I'm gonna let him get the mic. We got John Henry ism. Welcome, brother. You have the mic.
Yes, this is John Henry of the Gorilla Simp Institute, here to tell you, as black men, what you should be doing.
Shout out to you, brother.
Nah, I mean, this is generally the way we hear this conversation. That's why I had to come up. I mean, it's I was really waiting for y'all to come up on that angle, and nobody did so far. So I felt like I had an obligation to come up here and put that cap on for no reason. But no, I think you guys nailed it. Fundamentally, you can't take responsibility for something that you don't have authority over, and it's really that simple. What we're dealing with right now is it's a liability principle. So black men are being held liable generally through the state And as a result, because we live in this industrial first world that has gone on and commodified relationships, then this is the end result. When they say you need to do better, the implication is really you need to provide more commodities that I can show the general white America. And that's really all this is being talked about. And this is only happening because there's a detachment of intrinsic value of men in general, but black men in particular. And so it becomes very easy to divorce people from reality. And I think that the main thing you said earlier, which I think was absolutely critical, is if you really look at the bigger picture, it was illegal for us to read books just over 100 years ago, barely. Can you imagine the idea of a group of people that went from having legally forced illiteracy to where we are now in less than 200 years? I think this comes from people not understanding how long it takes for human beings to form nations and leagues. And when you understand that bigger picture, you can see how our absolute progress is profound, especially when you consider the fact that ever since we did get out post-Reconstruction, we've had to quite literally rebuild our progress from ground zero every single time without question. Yeah, and every generation, yeah, I mean, you see it like, fam, you in particular are a good illustration at this point. Where's your network? And what I mean by that is when you go into these social circles, you may be at a certain level of success. You're operating from a position of addition, stunting on these people, and everybody else around you is multiplying. That's a completely different outcome. When you take a look at us on the one-on-one, we understood from the get-go that our path of trajectory is going to be going uphill, and that you've got a bargain if you're in a less of an inclined hill, but you get to actually do something on flat land. What that's produced is for us being generally 6% of the American population. Black men in isolation are doing better than the overwhelming majority of all other black men on planet Earth.
That's fact.
We have a disproportionate number of black men that are at the absolute echelons of society. And for us to not have cultural inertia to put us there says that every time you see that, it's a rag the richest story. Mm-hmm. And there's no other group of people who overcrowd these lights for the number of population they have. And It's other people outside of the United States that notice that. If people don't really understand it, that when you look at who is seen as influential, and even in the entertainment sphere, you'll call it, we're there not on accident. We're there because you still needed a modicum of talent. You still needed a system to get you there. You look at the sports, it's not enough to just be physically endowed as far as your physical ability to perform the sport. You've got to actually have the talent to back that up and the training regimen and discipline to make that occur. That occurs when you're in an environment where your survival is based on the success of your outcomes. And again, disproportionately, we operate on that paradigm, which is a key component to human ingenuity. Black men overrepresent people who have succeeded in spite of, not because of. That's so even when we look at what our outcomes are currently, if you compare our success to debt ratio, we're doing better than most other group of people right now. So even if there's people who are making an absolute amount of money more than we are, or comparatively speaking, we don't have the same debt problems. And we did so from our own skill-based merit. We didn't get government assistance for any of this. We don't even qualify for a lot of the programs that are put forward there. That's why we overrepresent in the vocational training. That's why when we do get handouts, it's from a network context. Most of us got success because we knew people who knew people. And then once we got there, we busted our asses once we got in that position. There was none of this, well, we've got these quotas to meet, and so we're looking for specifically black males within this particular age demographic. I know not a single human being that shares my genetic background that got put in a position of success where they reside at with regards to that. It has always been either through happen chance or busting your ass and being prepared for a position when it presents itself that you could take advantage of and acquire what you have today. And the end result, I'm gonna say this last part and I'm done. You guys got it. And the end result is fundamentally that when you look at us on a pound for pound relative to our numbers, we are overperforming relative to where we start. And that's easily overlooked if you dumb down success rates to your absolute distance traveled and you don't consider that, yeah, we traveled the same 30 yards everybody else did, but we did it up a freaking cliff.
Yeah, I think that what people fail to realize is that when you look at the journey from start to finish, right, the generational journey, from when we landed, from when the settlers landed here, despite slavery, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, the average black man, because I like to focus on averages, right? The average black man is only 4K behind. Only 4K behind the white dude. And like you said, there's no handouts, and DEI proved that. DEI proved to white America that, oh, actually, who's losing their jobs because of DEI? White women, and then a handful of black women, right? So the truth is coming out about, number one, what black men's standing in merit is in this country. Number two, pound for pound, individually, there's nobody better. And that's why I cannot understand how black men, not saying anybody here on the panel says that, but I've been around other black men that will say crazy shit like, we need to get our stuff together. Niggas ain't doing this and niggas ain't doing that. And you're looking at the statistics and you're looking at the journey. How in the world can you fix your mouth to say that? And we're not even talking about the BET CEO or the David Johnsons or the billionaires. I'm talking about the regular, everyday, the everyday black man, right? The everyday, all walks of life black man, and what they have done, and even the stuff that I do, right? My job is a performance coach. I get Chinese kids ready for elite schools. I've been doing this for 9 years. If you look at my record, 20% of those kids will be a millionaire. 100% of those kids will be making over 300K just by working with me and working with my team and my company. 80% of them will go on to elite Ivy League schools. 80%, right? That we make sure they get into. 80% gets into like an Ivy League school or a top 10 school, right? So not only did I'm a byproduct of being in project housing, Section 8 housing, to not only make it out, but now train other people that differ from my genetic background to be fucking elite because their parents could afford it. So I just don't understand. I just don't understand how black men can fix their mouths to say some crazy shit like that.
All right, y'all got to get a couple things in. We got a couple new guests that came up. All hail Barlamuccio. He said, speaking of working hard, Roger, I'm trying to get my wrench. Now, there's some people who's supposed to got their wrench in July, but you didn't show. Okay. Now, I don't know who this is, not by this name. So I need to know who it is before I just throw a wrench at you. Now, if you just a new person, you're going to be working to get a wrench. Well, keep coming, keep working, and we going to have you. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody who's supposed to have a wrench is welcome to their wrench. And that's just real talk. Everybody who's supposed to have one. And if this is the person that I've talked to before, I just don't know you by this name. You know, if you know what I'm talking about. But you would know what I'm talking about. But, you know, you can let me know what's going on after the show if you want to, or you can say something in the comment section. I see what I see. Okay. But everybody who deserves one will get one. All right. Shout out to Black Uru Strikes, he says the average working black man works more hours per week than any other race/gender of Americans. If people play fair with us and get the F and get the F out our way, we do more than our fair share. Now, I'm going to agree with that wholeheartedly because that's just what it is. And elite black men happen because we just simply make a decision to be elite. We don't have a lot of support systems out there. You know, the biggest your support system is a lot of times is, you know, some your own personal family and maybe a few friends here or there. Maybe they want to help you. Maybe your daddy knows some folks in his network that's gonna have, but we putting ourselves on at the end of the day. You know, we not just getting on for the sake of getting on. No, we're putting ourselves on, and that's just real talk. So now the thing is, does the everyday average brother need to improve for black women? Now I'm gonna say no, because number one, it's your job to impress me enough where I want to take a chance on marrying you in the first place. How you gonna tell me to improve and I'm the one taking the chance on marrying you? That don't even make sense in the first place. Just from a lot of areas that just don't make sense. How about you be good enough for me to take a risk on? And because if a woman say he's not good enough, what man is gonna argue with a woman about marrying a man who ain't good enough? Nobody makes that argument. No, you've never really heard that argument being made that a woman should give a man a chance. Now, women will say, y'all say give a man a chance, and then what they say, they go right to who they was already messing with. Well, I was messing with a dude, he was a drunk. I was messing with a dude, he was a drug addict. I was messing with a dude who won't keep a job. But I gave him a chance. Ain't nobody ever told you get them niggas. Nobody ever said that. If a man gonna act like a nigga, ain't nobody said get a dude acting like a nigga a chance. No brother ever said that. Nobody wanted his sister to marry the local crack addict. Nobody asked for that.
But Roger, I want to interject something really quick, and then I'll let you go on. See, because the other side of this argument, which should black women become better for black men? Because every time I see a upper level black man to elite black man, or even a decent black man, his wife is less than desirable. Claire Huxtable, Michelle Obama, Jada Pinkett.
Okay, let me let these two new guys get in. Inspired Truth Broadcast, you got the flow, my brother.
First of all, am I coming in loud and clear?
Yes, you are, my brother. Yes, you are.
All right, great. Salute to you, Raj. Salute to the chat. I'm so glad you put this topic to the floor and brought up this subject. Black men need to do better. That phrase there, that's something that's called a thought terminating cliche. Shout out to Dr. Tommy Curry for bringing that over to the lexicon. What it is what we have is an ad hominem attack. And this hominem attack has just been repeated over and over and over again. And after that gets repeated over and over and over again, and it gets included into the larger culture, the larger society. That's what makes it a cliche. Like, this thing is actually a rhetorical device. This is a rhetorical tool. It's something to use to take away from and distract from important conversations that are occurring. When we're talking about attitudes, oh, well, black men need to do better. When we're talking about the marriage rates, oh, well, black men need to do better. It's something to stop the conversation, distract from the conversation, and make sure that you don't actually have anything positive being brought forward. And this one here, this particular one is particularly egregious and particularly insulting, but because it insinuates that we're not doing nothing, that we're not trying to do nothing, and that we haven't been doing anything. We have to kind of understand that this is a part of a bigger picture, which is the bad faith argument. Like, it's attached to deception and lies. And that's kind of like one of the main things that really upsets me for the most part. I really, really hate when people use rhetorical devices and logical fallacies to distract away from progress and productive conversations.
Well said, brother. Well said. Okay, let's give it to Santana. You got it.
Yeah. Good morning to y'all. Um, I'm not even gonna lie to you. This should need. I think black men need to do better for themselves. I don't think we need to be thinking about black women. I'm gonna say something that my granddaddy told me a long time ago. That that you should focus on yourself like you're the only person alive. And I really took that to heart. You know what I'm saying? But I never really thought to myself to do better for somebody else, only for me. Especially not know another race of women that really don't even give a fuck about us. Excuse my language, but if you pay attention to how they talk about us and the things that they say, they look at us like we beneath them. You know what I'm saying? It's like they say we in competition with them, but they always bringing up the areas where they winning at. So they kind of make it a competition. Um, yeah, you know what? It's so many things that I want to say, but I'm not going to do too much because I don't know if you got black women on. I'm showing respect, but I be hearing this kind of rhetoric, and it's very cringy because it's like we doing better for what caliber of women? What caliber of women are we getting that we doing? We got to do all these good things for. Like, I don't know. I don't really see a lot of good black women out there, but for the ones that is good, just definitely stand on all 10 for them. Do it. Do what you got to do for that woman. Just for the good ones though. But I ain't gonna go too deep into it though. It's making me really cringy thinking about it. But I'm gonna just let it go. I'm gonna just wait the next time around.
I agree, man. I agree with you, brother. I'm gonna side with you. If you should never ever try to be good for a woman because at the end of the day, what are you getting? It is better to be trifling, washing your drawers in the sink, eating hot Cheetos for these women. Because look, he from Constable, what did he get? Claire. And Claire was a horrible mother. And on top of that, in her real life, she was married to Ahmad Rashad. That's right, I'm bringing out receipts. Right, she was married to Ahmad Rashad, the best sports at the time in the 80s and late 90s. He was a personal friend of all the top sports players. Jordan, Tyson, everybody loved Ahmad Rashad. And this woman fixed her face and her hand to divorce this man. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Then you got pedophile Jada Pinkett Smith doing ungot. If that was a man, she would be arrested.
That,
All
that,
right.
that,
Let me
that black queen, that black queen was babysitting. Don't do that, man. Don't do that.
look, look. I got two new people up here, man. I gotta make some room. They Emperor
Okay,
that's Lean's
Roger,
getting.
let me say this. If I'm serious, man. If Will Smith had put his mouth on a woman's private at 22 with mental issues, and then got on the red table talk and said, "Jada, I just had a wonderful relationship with Willow's friend. This nigga be in jail."
Well, I don't think he was a kid. I don't know his age, but I think he might have been like
22,
He was
He
freaking
was a minor.
19.
He,
He
he
was
was.
19, man.
Listen, he was a minor, man, when he first got there. But I will say this real quick, Santana. I like you better today than I did the first time you came on. You're showing improvement, sir. You're showing improvement. I like it. I like it.
all right, let me get these two new guys in, y'all. Emperor Dessalines is here. Emperor, you have the floor, my brother.
No,
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good
I'm
evening,
very,
brother.
I'm
It's
very
good,
well.
fam.
Thank you very much. Should black men do better? No. Here's my question.
Well, but hold on. Let me make this
E-
clear, especially for y'all that come up on the panel. The subject
Yes.
of the show is in the subject line. What we put on the screen could be anything that is not the subject of the show. We play we do little stuff here and there. So look at the actual title of the show, especially if you're gonna be a person coming on to the panel. Because We
Okay.
may put the exact opposite sometimes. I know y'all ain't probably paid attention to it, but we do all kinds of stuff with the extra words so that we put on the screen. So subject of the show is always going to be where the subject actually is when you're looking at the channel. But go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
I like to believe that a man doesn't have to be Superman to get a Lois Lane. Hey, do you understand how insulting it can be for a man that they're constantly telling you to do better, do better, do better, to the point where you ameliorate yourself to the point of becoming Kryptonian, and all you gotta pick from are a bunch of Lois Lane. Where's my Wonder Woman? Hmm? Krypton is dying, and Krypton needs babies. Where are the Kryptonian good wombs to put those Kryptonians babies in? Why should I constantly be told to be better, to do better, and all I gotta pick from are a bunch of 5'1", 189 pounds, 4 times baby mama for 6 different guys? Why do I have to be all that just to get this? Gentlemen?
Yeah, it's because
I'm
it's
gonna say great
Man,
point.
we need to clap for this nigga right now because he's dropping bars. We need
Yeah,
to
I
clap
mean, yeah, that was well said,
because
my brother. Well said. But before y'all go too
because
far, I got one more person we got to get in. Okay, but that was well said. Messing, we out here being Kryptonians, and they want us to mess with regular old humans. Okay, but
no,
perfect timing podcast is here, so let him get in, y'all. Let him get in. Go ahead, perfect.
Salute, man. Salute. Good morning, man. It's a
Morning, brother.
good morning. Good morning. Great topic. I like that too. Where's the Kryptonian women? You know what I'm saying? I agree. That could be a whole nother show too. When I think about black men should be better for black women, you know what I think about? And it's funny, you guys were having a discussion the other day, and it came in my mind. So I'm glad the individuals are here so we can expound upon it. But I thought about sacrifice. And I thought about like Nameless brought up the Klingon, we got the hyena ideology, and then the guard dog. And I've talked about me being a guard dog, and I've talked about sacrifice a lot when I mentor men. And this notion that somehow black men need to be better for black women, it gets back to this sacrificial lamb that we've become. I know Nameless touches on it a lot, but it's keeping us in this role where you're the guard dog, or even going back to the plantation, I'm the one that's slaughtered for the betterment of the BW, right? In order for this dynamic to work, where this black man needs to be better, it is a completely it serves the BW in a way, because you always have this fuel, right? This black man is no longer. This is why we get treated, I believe, the way we get treated in society and in relationships, because you're not seen as an actual person. You're a sacrificial lamb, and at any time, like with Shikari in the airport, quickly know it was him. It's his fault. She sacrificed him, and me. I've been in the grocery store. My mama might be shoplifting, and I get sacrificed. So it's a mentality, right, that a lot of us get brought up into, raised into, like, and my prayer knows, like, this is why panels like this exist, to dispel this myth that you are this sacrificial lamb. And that's what you hear a lot on a lot of panels, is that black men step up to be the lamb. A lot of times, especially younger men, they get on panels and they defend black. They don't understand what they're doing is they laying their head on a chopping block.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's scapegoating, and a lot of repetition on a lot of these rhetorical devices to get us well trained into being a scapegoat.
So let me say this, because y'all literally talking my language right now. You know, as John Henry, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how my story go. I'm just saying. Y'all gotta do what you're supposed to do forever.
We gotta
till
pause
you die.
So right now, gentlemen, gotta issue a state of emergency that from this point on, Superman should be outlawed because what my man just said. Because Superman is up here sniffing the tail of Lois Lane, aka Claire Huxtable, aka Michelle Obama, when Wonder Woman fly on her own, but this white nigga is flying up, flying her around buildings and all this bullshit, and was giving Superman all types of trouble, wouldn't listen to the word he said, right? A Wonder Woman who had power feared Superman. And see, that's the thing, man. Like I know a black man had to write Superman. But and you know what, man? From this point on, from this point on, Superman is banned from the black lexicon because this is some bullshit. And Christopher Reeves, that was karma that you got knocked off that horse, nigga, because you probably fucked up a lot of men's lives. So say that.
So let me say this, because I do want to follow up on what Perfect Timing was saying. In a serious sense. Firstly, Superman was actually made by small hats. It's a long story on that too, which is interesting because the actual superheroes was supposed to be Clark Kent in the first place. That was literally the point. And Lois Lane was demonstrating the very points we were highlighting here and why I started with this idea of social commodification. How the end result of our value, our general value, is just simply seen in what we can provide in units of commodified being. And I'm not going to say it's a problem. That's what messed the contract up. And the contract in particular I'm talking about is a specific kind of social contract that I call the apoptic contract. And the idea of the apoptic contract comes from the biological process of apoptosis. For any system, biological or otherwise, there was always a means by which cells that need to be reconstituted and reorganized and reprocessed by the system are get a controlled demolition, for lack of a better term, destroyed and their amino acids repurposed. This is known as apoptosis, a controlled cell death. And there's a altruistic volunteering of cells that will, in light of the demand of the other aggregate of cells, assign itself this position, self-retract, and become easily extractable. That is the role.
Say that again. Altruistic. He said, "You proud? I am proudly going to the sacrifice." It's like in the day where there's a ram in the bush. There's a ram in the bush. Woo, that was powerful. If y'all got what he said, man, there's a ram in the bush.
So, but I want to continue the thought because the idea is that, and I was able to find this in every single system you could observe, biological and otherwise, which tells me this is an aspect of the universe, but it also has an obvious duality. When it's done outside of the context of balance, and it's done in a position to where it's done without rhyme or rhythm, which is, to establish a homeostasis, you get its inverse. The inverse of apoptosis is necrosis, and that's the process of decay. We have gone into a situation where, because everything's been so commodified, and that the apoptic contract that human beings, men in particular, have been held to participate in society has derailed. We're now experiencing this kind of necrotic contract where we're getting decay because that breaking down is now being demanded. If you want an illustration of that, you can see how cancer works in a lot of instances, or cells just dying outside of that altruistic context. And what we're doing and what's being signaled to the body is refusing that contract. And here you go, perfect timing, refusing to agree to the apoptic contract, but refusing to start the process of necrosis makes you a cancer cell. And so now all systems get aligned towards you and see you as a problem because you won't sacrifice. And so you then get pathologized as though you are necrotic tissue, when in reality, you are presenting a failing of the system to uphold its end of the apoptic contract. Apoptosis.
You sassy. The new term for that is sassy. That's immediately what they
And
go.
from now on, Superman don't want Lois Lane anymore. We want Kryptonian women, or at least now I'll settle for Wonder Woman. You know, I get
So we're
it.
selling for Amazon.
Yeah, I'll take that. You know, okay, fine. I'll take 12. By the way.
But Wonder Woman was half Amazonian, half God, right? She's half Amazonian, half God, so we can do
it. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say too. You know, men do need to learn to make sense of the world, because when you learn to make sense of the world, when people ask you for stuff, you know, you can measure out, does it make sense for me to give it to you? You know, now I told you I got Christian beliefs, you know, and I'm not saying everybody has to have Christian beliefs, but realistically speaking, God sacrificed himself so people can be with him. Now, if you don't do what he wants you to do, you go to hell. You see what I'm saying? God is the being that loves more than anybody else, who would love you in the way that nobody else can even understand how to do. And even he will send people to hell. So, you know, I'm not saying sacrifice is a bad thing, but sacrifice should be done in a way for a purpose. And you got to learn to sacrifice for the right people. And even the Bible says the greatest love you can have, you can give to a person is to give your life for them. Who's worthy of your life? If you don't look at yourself and say, who's worthy of my life, you might give it up for somebody that ain't worth nothing. So as a black man, I do hear, you know, like women saying, like, y'all need to do this and y'all need to do that. She's asking me to sacrifice. Because if I come fix your radiator, that's time. Okay? If I pay for your radiator to get fixed, that's money. Which really converts back to time, because I had to do something. I had to put some time in to earn whatever I earned that I gave away. I don't sacrifice for nothing. I sacrifice for something.
But see, when we look at it on that aspect of sacrificing and the ram in the bush and things like that, because we need to bring a little bit of clarity. So from one aspect point, that black women in general, that's all they been known to do is sacrifice your black ass, right? The first assassination attempt on Martin Luther King was from a black woman, right? Sacrifice this niggas for some biscuits and treats. Cool, no problem. During the time of Moses, what did Pharaoh tell them, right? Let the women live and sacrifice the boys. When you look at Abraham, right? God said, you know what? If you're gonna be on my team, nigga, well, he didn't say it like that, but if you're gonna be on my team, bring Isaac up to the thing, you know, and slay him. And he did for the love of God. He loved God so much that he was gonna slay his own son for God. So God said, okay, it's cool. I'm gonna give you the ram in the bush. But see, when we talk about Christ, right? When Christ came, for the believers, right? He was not supposed to be sacrificed. The niggas sacrificed him because they didn't know the time of the appointment. And so they chose Barabbas over Christ. And that's why Christ said, forgive them, for they know what not they do, because they did not know the time of appointment. So what am I trying to bring home here? Is that there's a time and a place for sacrifice. But there's also a time and a place to know, okay, hey, this guy has came here to lead us out of this situation. And see, this is where black women fall short. And this is why no matter what you can do, it's never going to be enough. You can't prove them, right? Because in Obama's situation, he became the first black president on the record books. What'd she say? I didn't want him to win. Right? Black women, you can't do enough for black women because black women don't know the time of their appointment. They don't know how to take a lending and helping hand from a black hand. It got to be white. And I'll pass the mic on that.
Ooh, can I pick up on that one?
Wow, that's
I want to
Because
go
I
after
have
you.
That was very cool.
Have something for that because you brought up a good point there. What's the difference between medicine and a poison?
One makes you sick, one makes you feel better.
It's
Dosage.
it's all about dose. That's exactly right. You can have some sacrifice. A little bit of sacrifice is good, but you can't have sacrifice all day, all the time. That ends up becoming something very bad.
And,
I
and,
gotta.
and I'm gonna just say my point was that even the people sacrificing require something. Ain't no free sacrifice when you look
That's
out with the in history. I'm gonna die, but y'all gonna make this country what I'm saying it needs to be. I'm gonna die, but y'all gonna make this family where I need it to be. I'm gonna die, but y'all gonna get this business off the ground where it needs to be. It's always a requirement, even to a sacrifice. And I don't think black men really get that. So we think we're supposed to sacrifice for nothing. Because I mean, let's be real. Our women, if you consider them yours, they're telling you this from the time you were born that you are supposed to sacrifice for nothing. No,
yeah.
if I sacrifice, I'm supposed to get something. If I sacrifice my life for God, I'm supposed to get eternal life. Abraham was sacrificing his son for God. God said, as far as you can see, that'll be your land. It was always a reward to a sacrifice.
The
Why would
black
I sacrifice for nothing?
And
the black
that's
woman is
that's where
God.
I'm at. That's what I said earlier the other day when I was on here, and I said the reason why black men are the prize is because they're the sacrifice. And I want to highlight this point, and I'm gonna say that and let it go because I know we got somebody else that came up. I want to make sure they go also. The fact that, have y'all seen Berserk?
No.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. If you take a look, and I'm gonna spell it out slowly, and I may need to do a video on this. YX. That's a man. But when you overlap those two things together, they make what's understood as the brand of sacrifice. And all I'm going to say is when you're born in this world with a Y chromosome as a man classified as black here in the English speaking West, you're born with that mark of sacrifice, that brand of sacrifice. And what that means is every single day you're already claimed for. And you have to learn how to fight and operate in spite of that. Whereas everybody else doesn't have to deal with that. We're not talking about sacrifice anymore. You are literally a scapegoat at that point, as what was said earlier. You're no longer in an apoptic contract where your sacrifice is noble and you're respected for it. You are a commodified, calculable thing ripe for consumption, whether it be in the form of an ATM or in your physicality one way or another. That is the ritual. You are marked for consumption. And resistance to that is anything other than absolute cancer to this system, because you highlight one or two things: the system isn't working, or two, you think you're above it and you're being belligerent. And that's why everything we do isn't because of, but in spite of. And why I keep saying this whole thing is about us understanding that because we're not in that apoptic state, we're in a necrotic state. And the way you have to behave is totally different. You have to claim that prize, that inertia that was earned by your own sacrifice on your own will. And that's what emancipation looks like.
Well, I want to add to that sacrifice should require submission from the women that you're dealing with. It should require submission, and your chivalry should require chastity. And I'm gonna leave it at that.
All right, because I got to get Champ Car for life in here, y'all. Champ Car, you got it, brother.
Hey, Roger. Good morning. Good afternoon, wherever you are. Let me just say that this is a really, really, really constructive what we're talking about. I've been listening to you, Roger, for over 6 years, almost 7 years. And I have to say that the panel here today, you know, it's really good listening to y'all right now, coming up with solutions. You know, because we've heard this term that black men need to do better. I don't believe we need to, because we've done that. We've paid the price, and trying to make ourselves and the community better and everything. As the brother just said today, John Henryism, we sacrificed a lot, for this country. We fought in wars.
Bless you.
We were forced. Bless you. We built everything. We built the railroad system. We invented, electricity. We were in agriculture and everything else. We've done that and everything else, despite tremendous outcomes, despite being lynched, killed, and everything else. So what we really need to do is have these type of conversations and everything else, and figure out, and try to build our confidence and take all that information and and being dedicated in what in our and focusing our goals and what we want to do and everything else, how we can provide for ourselves and everything else. Because a lot of us, we've been doing all the work and everything else, but we're not necessarily getting we're not fully appreciated for all the sacrifices we've done, even from our own women and everything else. One other thing I want to say this to it's not hot sauce today, but in China, children at the age of 5 or 6 or 7 years old are studying great black men in America, like Booker T. Washington, George Washington Carver. Yeah, yes, yes. They're studying that because they know they can use that information to make themselves richer and everything, to making China a much more powerful nation. They're getting off all of all the great foundational black American men and everything else. So we are special men, we're special people and everything else. Let's have these conversations and everything else. Let's try to build it and everything else, and try to take all the information that we're hearing right now today and everything else, so we can make ourselves better. So I'm gonna land my plane there.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to say something really quick on that. Like, just a side note for Dragon Ball Z fans, that was inspired by black people, right? The creator was inspired by black people.
Yeah.
During Jim Crow, to write about that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'm gonna say a shout out to Deb and their brother. He says it's not sacrifice if the proposition is not. I mean, it's not sacrifice if the proposition is not reciprocal. Now I'm gonna say this, y'all. As a black man, first of all, you shouldn't be looking to be a sacrifice, because that's retarded. Okay. Sacrifice comes when it's necessary, but you shouldn't be looking to be a sacrifice. And how do you improve the black community as a black man? The first thing you can do is make yourself look good. If you improve yourself, you being part of the black community, you just improved it. A lot of black men don't get that lesson. It's a shame that it ain't taught more. The best and easiest and literally quickest way that you as an individual can improve the black community is to improve yourself. Because you have control over you. You don't have control over other folks, but you definitely got control over you. So that's the quickest way to make an improvement to the black community. Now, once you make an improvement to the black community by improving yourself, then you can look and say, where can I help some others? But you got to put yourself first at the end of the day. How you going to pay my bill if you can't pay your bill? It's simple at the end of the day. It's not complex. So in order to help women, I got to help me. Then when I say I help me, now I'm going to look at what women do I want to help. And my woman should help me get stuff. See, a lot of black folks got it twisted when you talk about stuff that works versus stuff that don't. Stuff that worked. A man bought a house. What normally happened when he bought his house? He was already married. So his woman actually helped him buy the house, even if she didn't work outside the home. She did the stuff inside the home so he can be more free to do the things he needs to do outside the home. So she still helped him pay for that house. She just didn't do it by earning money. There's ways to do things without you being the person earning the money. Okay? I need my kids looked after. Well, if I'm going to go work and earn some money, somebody got to watch my children. The wife would do that. And it worked. It's that simple at the end of the day. It worked. Now we got retarded folks out here paying for daycare, and they got jobs that don't even really much more. They don't really much more earn money that didn't pay for the daycare. It's like you paying $400 a week for daycare, but you're earning $500 a week. Why your kids in daycare? It don't make no sense when you actually start thinking about it. But they'll tell you you need to do better. No, you need to refocus what you're doing. You're already doing better. And then for the folks who want to compare us to white men, yeah, we on their neck when it comes to earning. But if it was just about earning, we would have different results going on out here. Because truth be told, no matter what you do as a black man, black women still like to mess with compromised men. So who cares what you did? So you did make six figures. She like compromised men. It's hard to find a compromised man making six figures. It's hard to find a millionaire who's compromised making six figures. I'm not saying you couldn't possibly get to one, but first of all, they don't exist like that. So mostly they're not going to even find one to get with anyway. And I know a lot of folks, y'all start talking way too much about people making six figures. That is a almost pointless conversation because most people will never make it. And that's just being real. And if it turn in our lifetime, if six figures really turn into a thing, then by that point, you're going to need to make seven figures anyway, because that's how inflation works. And that's just real. So the thing is, if the 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old guy can't have a woman act right, then it don't make no difference what you do beyond that point. Because if she wants to be right, she'll be right because that's what she wants. Ain't got nothing to do with you. And that's what a lot of black men don't get. We want to believe that if we do something the right way, the women will act better. Nigga, that's your ego. I've said time and time again, you got to let your own ego go and accept that life ain't fair. That is one of the two major issues for black men. Let your ego go and accept that life ain't fair. You can't do nothing to make a woman better because you're not her. If she wants better, she'll do that on her own.
Yeah, it's a massive scam when they say if you just do better because people can only perform as well as they practice. If they don't have a practice of acting right, they ain't going to act right. It doesn't matter how high you climb or what you do. They'll find some way to take that for granted. Like they're still going to be them at the end of the day.
Like I said, I don't believe that someone or a man has to be a Kryptonian to get an ordinary woman. It doesn't have to be this hard. And if you were to ever to become one, you should get a counterpart that's equally yoked. You don't get to become a quote unquote Kryptonian and mess with Lois Lane. Lois Lane's trash. I'm sorry. What the fuck I got to do with Lois Lane?
Yeah, hey, I never want this. I don't want this conversation to come off a certain way because I think we all love black women. Um, I'm sorry, I love black women from the bottom of my heart, like literally. Even though I'm not married to one, but I got sisters and stuff like that, and it 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 can't come off disingenuous in a way, especially when you hear black women say things like this. Because I've heard black women say things like we need to do better for them. It's crazy. I don't know. I can't really go into my thoughts like that, mainly because my spirits is low after watching the Bears game. I'm sorry, I don't mean to change the
Why
topic,
would you
but
have
my
to do that,
spirits.
man? Why you got to do that, man?
I'm sorry. I just had to say it because my spirit's been low for a couple days, and yeah, man, I don't know, man. I apologize,
You
y'all.
giving certain
How
people
you think I
that,
feel after the Saints game?
yeah, you giving
Listen,
certain people in my chat too much fuel to bring up the Bears right now. Because I know
listen,
some jokes gonna come after that one.
listen.
But I feel where you're coming from.
I'm
Oh,
Now,
already
real
better.
talk, I can't. I'm gonna just get down because my spirits is real low. I'm gonna holler at y'all tomorrow.
All right, peace, bro.
all right, be easy, brother. I understand. I definitely understand. You know.
I'm already better. I'm a self-sustained man. I'm already better. I'm stronger. I'm taller. I'm smarter. I'm already doing better than you. What else do you want? I can feed you, but you still want better. Better what? You're not worth my sacrifice. The reason why I will not do better for the sake of them is because they are not worth my sacrifice. That's it. I'll sacrifice myself for myself, but do it for you. Why? What's in for me? Again, I'm a Kryptonian. You're Lois Lane. We are not in the same lane. Sorry. It is what it is.
So I would like to like that's the second part of what I wanted to say, because there is this name was brought up, the feminine, right? And inherent things that go along with the feminine. And there is this inherent part of masculinity, and someone brought up chivalry earlier. And the whole SYSBM thing, the other part to this is there is this innate part of us that want to provide and protect, but someone said earlier about it being reciprocal. And Hot Sauce brought up that there is this innate need and ability in us to sacrifice. The second part to this is how to apply this type of masculinity in a healthy way, because the term and the ideology is a mental manipulation upon you and what your natural modality is. So when someone says that to you, they're manipulating you against your own nature. And you think, well, I am a man. I have the ability to protect. I have the ability to improve. I have the ability to do better for my woman. I would be proud to do so, right? You buy into the manipulation because it's inherent in you, right? To be masculine, to be protecting, to be providing, to sacrifice for your child. This is what Roger is scratching at. So there is this innate quality in masculine men and this ability, right? And those of us with abilities, you want to exercise those abilities. The second part is not to say throw those abilities away, is how to properly apply them with SYSBM. Sacrifice eating bad foods. You know what I'm saying? The sacrifice, what Roger said, is how you make yourself better. Focus on you. That's what this space is about. Using those same innate masculine traits to improve yourself, right? Going to the gym, committing to good exercises, good reading habits. These things are sacrifices in ways that improvement that normally in this equation you would do for the woman, you would do for a child, or some people, Umar said, go knock on doors. Sacrifice your time, efforts, and abilities and strength for other people's children, right? And when they say this, they know certain men will gravitate to this ideology because it's innate in those men. It's innate in all men in masculinity. You know what? These guys are cowards and suckers. I'm going to go knock on the door and help these kids because these kids need help. It's, Roger said, that's that brother's ego, but it's innate in that man. It's the masculine ego, right? That says, no, y'all suckers, I'm going to go knock on the door. That individual doesn't know how to properly apply that energy he has within himself. And I think I would love you guys to take away, people listening, that from today's message. It ain't about the woman. A lot of times, like Roger said, the stuff that's on the screen, it's about how to apply these innate masculine traits in a positive way to benefit you. And I'm not ignoring the fact that within men, this chivalry thing exists. And that's why chivalry exists, because it's innate in us, true masculine men, right? So a lot of us will hear this message and say, oh, these guys is clowns. They don't want to be men. No, we're not saying that. It's the improper way that the equation has been applied to you that makes you a sacrificial lamb. And the way you understand being a good brother, this is what me and Black Uru was saying in the chat, is to be the you understand what I'm saying? A good black man is this thing and buys into this modality that Nameless described. Thank you.
Yeah, so basically, to piggyback on that, there's that other phrase that's almost another one of those cliches that gets used against us is, if you were a real man would go and take care of this single mom. A real man would go and do this, that, and the other thing. It's all about more extraction. It's you would do such and such thing that benefits me at the detriment of yourself, and they use your masculinity against you.
Correct.
But this what the thing is. This stuff has went unchallenged. Most men won't say simple stuff that I know I would say in a heartbeat, and I've done it in the past before. You know, a real man would do X, Y, and Z. I say the real man busy. What are you talking about? Because that's reality. A real man got stuff to do. Which means what? I only have but so much time to come do something for somebody that I don't really have no connection with. And that's what real men do. I told y'all, my father became an assistant scoutmaster because his son wanted to join the scouts. He didn't do it for just to do it for no reason. Now, he stayed there after his sons got out because he saw it as a good way of helping people. But by that time, he already had to put so many years in until his sons got out. So no, he did that because he wants to see something better. And again, I do believe in charity, so I'm not telling no man not to do stuff, but you need to understand what charity is, which I'm gonna do a whole other stream about that. I did it before. I'm gonna put one of those back up, and it's gonna be happening soon. Joe, I don't need to sacrifice for you because you're not comfortable. You're not that big a deal. And for black men, we need to have an understanding that if she ain't your wife, she ain't that big a deal. And that's just real talk. Okay. I will even look out for my own mother, but only because my mother looked out for me. If my mother didn't look out for me when I was growing up, I wouldn't look out for her. And that's just real talk. Okay. Now, my father, I probably wrote a little bit tougher with my father because I understand, not to get all up in they thing. Because I told you my parents got divorced. Now, whose fault is it that my parents got divorced? It's automatically my mama's fault. What have I told y'all time and time again? If a woman is with the man longer than 6 months and she ends that relationship, it's automatically her fault because she's supposed to be with the person she's going to be led by. The leader can't be wrong for leading where he's going. You could only be wrong to claim you're a follower, but you ain't trying to go where he's going. So that's automatic. So I cannot blame my mother. I mean, I can't blame my father unless somebody gonna come out and tell me my father cheated, which I ain't heard nothing about. Unless you gonna come out and say that, automatically he in the right. Now, do I love my mama? Absolutely. But she made a poor decision in that note. I just don't require my mother to be a perfect person, so I still can have a good relationship with her, even though, as far as I'm concerned, she messed up because she lost out on a good man. And it is what it is. I can't fix that. Okay? I can't fix that. And you know what? I don't have no control to go back in history and fix no past. I just accept life for what it is at the end of the day. Her sister stayed married. Her brother stayed married. Why couldn't she? Well, technically, she had a sister that I told y'all before. I got an auntie that did get married a couple times, so she had a sister that business was struggle. But no family's perfect at the end of the day. But the average thing that happens in my family is the women get married and stay married. That's why let me just say real quick. I've told y'all time and time again, when it comes to married people and advice and stuff like that, if a woman wants to tell me something, I want her to be married for 30 years plus so I can take what she's saying seriously. And that's just real talk. Because a lot of folks playing with marriage. I want people who know about it for real. Go ahead, brother.
I want to say that as brothers, we need to remember that we are the ones who ascribe value to the women. They don't ascribe it to us. They can't tell us what a real man is because they don't live our experience, nor do they add value to the world like we do. So we bring them value, and they can only be valuable when they couple with us in marriage. Otherwise, they are valueless. So you have to remember, they need us. We don't need them. And any woman will do. Any woman that you choose will do. And
And
I'll
she
land with that.
becomes part of our community once you marry. It is what it is, y'all. And that's what I'm saying. Black men got to learn to accept that we are the leaders of the community. If
We're the
you stop
prize.
looking at a bunch of unmarried women, you don't have a bad perception of the black community. People say a bunch of stuff about the black community ain't this and the black community ain't that. Who are we actually looking at? We're talking about usually a bunch of people who live in a single mother home or recently coming out of one.
Well, realistically, look, we're the prize. We're the prize. We're supposed to be the prize and everything, and that there's no other. I mean, most of these women who are sitting up there talking all that crap, saying that we're dusties and all that, they're just simply lonely women and everything else. Nothing good is happening for them and everything else. What they really want is that they want, they really want us to be submissive to them, to their ways and everything else. I need a man that can fulfill my needs and all that type of stuff. That's what they want. They don't want a man who is constructive, who can build, who can for them and everything else. That's it. They don't want that. They want their man for their own reasons and their own needs and everything else, financial needs and everything.
All right. Now let me get this in. Shout out to all the folks who've been jumping down on the Cash App. I want to get this in. Shout out to Inspired Truth Broadcast. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. He said, fire topic, fight cliches and stereotypes. Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very much. Okay, real talk. A shout out to the sponsor of today's stream, SOS the Interpreter. He hit me one more time. He said my donation, the 20 was someone else. No, brother. You gave 10 before twice. So that's why the 20's up there. You gave 10 before twice. So it's a cumulative of what people have been given. But I appreciate the extra 10. You know, we don't need an accurate reason to give an extra 10. But thank you very much, my brother. And I'm gonna say shout out to you because that's showing some level of integrity. Because even the thinking I'm misrepresenting you, and you say, boom, well, here go another 10 to make sure I'm represented correctly. That shows a very high level of integrity. So much respect for that, brother. Much respect for that. Real talk. Okay, much respect for that. Shout out to There I Said It. He said, salute. Hey, salute back at you, brother. Salute back at you. All right. My main man Gregory Scotland chimes in with the $5. He says, oh yeah, and There I Said It chimed in with 5 because I don't think I said that, but he's chimed in with 5. Gregory Scotland, he chimed in with his 5. And Gregory Scotland says, a man is working hard if he is excuse me, a man is working hard if he is a 7-figure man. And that's real talk. That's real talk because money don't come to us easy like that. I know women try to make us live in their world, but money don't come to us easy like that. We got to get out there and get it for real. Shout out to my main man, No Placeholder, hit me with the 5. He says, Santana doing better tax. Appreciate you, brother. And shout out to, shout out to Revelator, man. Revelator comes through with the 5. He's just there for today's stream. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, Revelator, and glad to have you back. I know you hadn't been in a while. I seen you yesterday. Was that yesterday or the day before? I know it was this week. So good to see you back, my brother. Good to see you back. Okay. And look like we got Tunnel Runner coming up one more again. So let me go ahead and give him the mic right now since he's coming up. Tunnel Runner, what's good, my brother?
Everything's good. Everything's good, brother.
What you got for the subject?
What I wanted to say was these women are supposed to be a vessel for us to produce ourselves again. And when these women do not become the vessel to produce our children so that we can produce ourselves again, our sacrifice is wasted. Because we're supposed to be sacrificing ourselves so that we can produce ourselves again to live on. And when these women are not helping us support our children, are not having our children, are not staying with us so that we can raise our children, the sacrifice is for naught. If we cannot control our children, if we cannot have children, if we're just wasting time, because the end goal was supposed to be for us to produce ourselves again and again.
And
so
that's real. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
No, so I'm saying so we can live on.
Now, I'm gonna say that you make a very good point right there. Very good point. You know, and the thing is, women, you live in America. You can buy into any form of nonsense you want to because as long as you quote unquote not hurt anybody or damaging other people's problem, you can pretty much do what you want to do. Okay. So the thing is, women say that we need to do better for them. If I'm doing better, you're not included. You're not my wife. You're not my brother's wife. You're not my friend's wife. Why do you think me doing better will have a benefit to you? See, they have to put that out there so we start buying into that nonsense so we can make their life easier, even though they don't do anything to deserve it. My brother has a wife. His wife can get just about anything out of me. Why? Because if my brother really needs something, he'll just come to me. And then I'm just gonna give it to him because he's my brother. Now, if his wife needs something, he can come to me. I'm not giving it to her. You know what I'm saying? And that's no offense to her. But my brother say, hey man, I need such and such. Now he ain't got to tell me he need it for his wife. He can if he wants to. I don't care. It's my brother. My brother say he needs something. I'm gonna give my brother what he needs because he's my brother. Point blank, period. If you see another black man as your brother, you do something similar, okay, under the same vein. But random women? No, I don't have an obligation to random women. I don't care what people say. I don't have an obligation to random women. When I do something for a random woman, that's charity. And because of how our society is, I've told y'all before, I make an effort to not, even with my charity, I try to give all my charity mainly toward men now. Point blank, period. Women got too much stuff out here to help them out with their situations. If they can't take advantage of all this stuff that's already out here to help them with their situation, that's on them at the end of the day. You're not married. You've communicated to me that you want to do this on your own. And because you're an American, hey, all I can do is support you in it. Now, when it don't work out for you, I don't understand how that's my problem, nor will it be my concern. Okay? Every woman who has a problem, the first thing I'm asking, what's your husband doing about it? That's real talk. If you're not my woman, I'm asking about your husband. Because I want to see how your husband wants to approach this thing. And truth be told, that's me giving respect to the man that's out there. Because if any woman come to me and ask me what, so she try to get me to help her do something, why shouldn't I ask what her husband think about it? Now, I understand as a black woman, she probably not married, but what if she is? What if she trying to do something vocal around her husband back? I'm going to at least ask about the brother. I don't know you. I don't know what you want. But you know what I do know? Every woman I know who married to somebody I know seem to be fine. I got brothers, okay? Men got married. They wives seem to be okay. I got cousins, men who got married. They wives seem to be okay. I got uncles. I've got the uncles that are now dead and gone. Their wives still seem to be okay. My grandma was okay. She was married to a man even after my granddaddy died. Boom. Okay. Okay. I got friends that I went to school with, grade school on up. The ones I know about their wives, all of them are okay. I don't know one brother who wife not okay. And I'm just keeping it real, y'all. I done been to churches. I don't know one dude who got a wife that's not okay. Not a single one. And I'm not saying that as no exaggeration. I don't know any man with a wife and his wife is not okay. A lot of their wives doing pretty good, truth be told. You know what I'm saying? I know quite a few men whose wives are doing extremely well. I don't know any brother with a wife that's not okay. And that's just real talk. So my thing is 100% on everything that I've experienced as a man, I have yet to come across a man whose wife not okay. I'm not saying they don't exist. I remember doing a story. I covered a story once about a woman who actually was stayed with her man. He went through some situation when he was homeless at the time. And I applauded her for doing so. But I did that as a story because that's like something out in the world. And it was like the only time I've ever heard of something like that. So yeah, that's news to me. Because I don't know a man who got a wife and she not okay. So when I tell y'all, I'm gonna ask a woman what her husband got to say. It's for a reason. Because if you have a husband, you're supposed to be okay. And if your husband's going through a situation, I'm supposed to have his back. Just the way I expect another man to have my back. It is what it is. If we friends, how your wife gonna be going through something and we ain't gonna do nothing? You see what I'm saying? How's that gonna actually happen? It ain't. And real talk, most men out here who hear this, who may be thinking in their mind, oh, well, somebody else having a problem, that's this. No, realistically, you're going to help your man because that's your guy. You're going to help your brother because that's your brother. You're going to help your uncle because that's your uncle. We step up for our families all the time. So realistically, you're going to be there for any dude that you really mess with. And you say, that's my dude right there. That's my brother. That's my homie. That's my friend. You're going to be there for him. And even like I said, the older couple who lived, the first older people that I remember being a little kid, man did great by his wife as far as I could tell from a child's position. Even when that man died, his wife didn't have no problem. It was multiple men in our neighborhood who went to her house and made sure she was okay. I heard about guys buying groceries. I seen the guys cutting the grass. The man lawn was always immaculate. His lawn stayed immaculate after he died. I don't know that he ever asked anybody to do this stuff. I just know we realized he passed, and the guys on the block stepped up and handled that. And she was straight till she passed. That's what I see from men. So when women say y'all need to improve so we can feel okay, I don't see how us improving gonna make you okay. We've already done that. How come you not with a man, and how come you not okay too? That's my position. If you're not okay, it must be because you're single. And if you're single, we don't have no reason to make you okay. Now, if some man want to give you charity, that's one thing. But guys, you do need to understand what charity is versus what your responsibility is. If you helping some woman out of charity, cool. But now you have an understanding you ain't supposed to get nothing back. You're not looking to get back from the people you gave the charity to. I give charity to people who cannot help me. Other people give me charity that I couldn't help. Y'all understand how that go? People I couldn't help gave me charity. I give charity to people who can't help me. But see, now I got a mindset that if I give this, I'm getting nothing back. That kind of changes how you gonna give. When you think it's your responsibility, you about give your whole check to a thing. But if it's just a charity, oh, here go $5. Here go 10. Matter of fact, I'm doing it big. You can have 100. See, that's what you do when you understand that's a charity. You gonna take your check and put it in your household, but you can have $5. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that to belittle nobody. I'm saying that because that's how life's supposed to work. I just got a check. I got $3,000 on this check. You can have 100 because I'm good. I still got $2,990 left. I mean, what? Well, I got 2,900 left because I said 100. So I got 2,900 left. I can operate. I can do what I need to do. But what I'm not gonna do is give you 1,500 out of 3,000 if you just charity. Now that's something you're doing for your household. That's something you're doing for your people. Maybe you give your brother $1,500 if you can handle it right then, because your brother needs something. Okay. If your sister needs something, you better ask her where her husband at. Because I'm not saying you can't give to your sister, but your sister should be married. And my sister can get something out of me, but I'm gonna talk to her husband first. What I look like giving my sister money behind my brother-in-law's back. Now, this might be a doozy for some of y'all, but think about what I'm saying. What do I look like giving my sister money behind my brother-in-law's back? My brother-in-law literally made a obligation to my sister that I did not make. It is my sister. I love my sister. Sure, I fight for my sister, possibly even die for my sister, but that man guaranteed he'd do it. I never came out in front of witnesses and said all that. That man said he'd do it. So what I look like giving my sister money behind my brother-in-law's back? Now, some of y'all like to bring up code. That's called being on code. Your sister don't need no money that your brother-in-law don't know about. I hope y'all hear what I'm saying out there. I really do. Because, see, everything's nice till it hits you. And you can't be tripping up on principles because it's personally affecting you. My sister don't need my money unless my brother-in-law agrees with her. And that's a real thing. And I'm saying that because that's where it hit home for people. If my sister called me and say, well, you know what? The lights are out. We couldn't pay the bill. Okay, cool. Your lights is out. You'll get by. Okay, I got a brother-in-law. You'll make it. If he ain't called me to say give him no money, he good. Maybe he going through a little rough patch. Go through the rough patch with him. Are you with him for convenience or you with him because you love him? That's not my marriage. If that man said we gonna burn some candles for the next week and a half till I get paid, then burn some candles for the next week and a half until he get paid. If as a man he don't want to ask me for no money, maybe he don't want to borrow no money, that is his right. That is up to him to make a decision on. Don't be calling me. Not that I believe it's gonna ever happen to me, but still the principle is there. Don't be calling me talking about all I need is $183 to get the lights back on. I don't care what you need. What my brother-in-law got to say about it? Well, he don't know I'm calling. Well, why don't you tell him you calling? How come he didn't call me? You my sister, but if you need some money, my brother-in-law should be asking me for it. If I need some money, I would ask my sister husband. That's real talk. I wouldn't go to my sister and she married and not ask her husband for the money. And even if the husband don't get it, if he say, well, how come you just didn't ask your sister? I'm going to say, because, bro, y'all are married and you the man of this house. That's why I'm asking you. I'm hoping you show me favor because you married to my sister. You know, you believe in my sister's family. I'm hoping you show me favor because you married my sister. So, no, I'm not asking my sister for nothing. Because she belonged to a different man. She belongs not to my father. She belonged to her husband. And that's real talk, y'all. That's real talk.
Hey,
Now,
Roger, you
have I
sound like
ever?
respect to me. That sounds like you giving respect and you want respect back.
And the thing is, it's not easy all the time. You know, you may not know your brother-in-law that well, but you got to stick with the principles. If your sister married, it ain't your job to go to your sister. Now, if you got to go to your sister, say, hey, can you give me my brother-in-law's ear? You his wife, can you tell him I need to talk to him? I understand that. You can go to your sister because that's you using what you got to gain some influence in a place, but you're still going through him. Look, you his wife, can you ask that man to call me? Ain't nothing wrong with that. You ain't overstepped no bounds in that situation. But if you're gonna ask for something, you should be asking your brother-in-law out of respect. That's real talk. And my thing is, as black men, we do so much to get what we get out the world. You know, at the end of the day, we shouldn't be throwing away our own principles and our own understanding about what's going to work for us. If a system don't work for you, you ain't supposed to participate in it. That's real talk. That's why I don't participate in white supremacy, y'all. That system ain't built for me. I don't care nothing about that system. I ain't gonna let it run me at all. I got to live a different way. And that don't mean I don't pay bills or I don't, pay taxes or something like. I ain't saying that, but I'm not gonna participate in white supremacy because that ain't my system. That system ain't for me. That system ain't designed for me to win. That system ain't trying to do squat for me. It's like being on a basketball team and your team running a triangle, but you want to run something else. Now, I understand the triangle ain't the easiest thing for some folks to learn, but once you get it, you get it. If my team running the triangle, I got to go learn it. That's just what it is. If my team running something else, I got to go learn that. And somebody telling me I need to improve so I can help black women. What black women need my help? Because my wife is fine. And y'all know I'm not married, right? So that means my wife don't have no problem. Okay? So what you talking about? I need to do better for someone. If my wife need me to do better so I can get us in a better situation, cool. If I'm living with a woman and we in the hood and I need to do better so I can get us out okay, cool. We can talk about stuff like that. As a man, I could go to other men to say, hey, look, this what's going on. I've been married for 2 years. My wife finna have a baby. I need to figure out how to get us about the hood. This what I can do. This what I can't do. Do you have any recommendations? And another brother would tell me what to do. And you got black men who won't even ask because women will shame them, talking about you going to them other niggas like they your daddy. Well, if they can help me, why would I not go? Don't you want to get out the hood? You don't want worried about stuff happening. Okay. You don't want to talk about we finna have a baby, so I'm going to another man to figure out how to get up out the hood. How is that a problem? Well, back in the day, it was accepted that black men could have a mentor, and it's not an issue. Okay, it was accepted. Black men could have a mentor. And guess what? Your wife wasn't trying to sleep with your mentor. Your mentor was trying to help you get to higher levels because he's already been there. That's a sad part about the black community right now. Unfortunately, the way we treat these women and stick with them no matter what, if you actually got a mentor who could help you in life that's doing better than you, the sad part is you got a lot of black women who try to they'll try to sleep with your mentor. But these are the people they want us to do better for. It don't make no sense. No black man should buy a home without already having a wife. I said no black man should. I ain't saying don't. What I mean is when we are young, we supposed to get with somebody and say we gonna do this life together. So I shouldn't have properties and my woman ain't already with me. If I gotta get the property for you to be my woman, you're there to destroy me. And that's how men need to see it. You're there to destroy me. If I got to already have it to get you over here, you didn't come to help me do squat. You came to take what I got. It's the stuff that brought you, not me. Because when you love a woman, you're going to be there regardless of her stuff. When a woman loves a man, she'll be there with you regardless of your stuff. Truth be told, if she loved you, she going to try to help you get some stuff. Because love is a decision, y'all. It's a decision you got to get up and make every day to love somebody. That's why I want to talk to women who've been married for 30 years plus. And I know in the black community right now, I know that's hard. You know what I'm saying? To say, well, we got all these women who've been married 30 years. I know that's hard. But at the end of the day, why would I want to talk about to some women who really don't understand what it is? Because you can be married for 5 years as a woman and, you can have a good ideal or two. I'm not saying you can't. But do you know how to deal with some rough times? Y'all know that song is called, the song, Can You Stay in the Rain? You see what I'm saying? If you live in Southern California where it never rains, everything easy. But I ain't going to be in Southern California all the time. Where I live, it rains sometimes. Can you stay in the rain? That's what I need to know. Now, if we billionaires and we down in Southern California, then I can worry about the fact that it ain't gonna never rain. I'm a billionaire. I ain't gonna never be in a position where stuff ain't good. But what happens if stuff ain't good one day? You finna get up and get up out the door? I was about to say rotate, but I know a lot of folks wouldn't necessarily know that term. But are you gonna get up and leave just because I run into a problem? Because if you're gonna leave because I run into a problem, I don't need you there. It is far cheaper to pay for me by myself than to pay for me, a woman, and some children. And that's just real talk. Okay? And I do get that a lot of sisters want these white men, which I don't care nothing about. Okay? I really don't care nothing about it. I was shocked to find out I made more money than the average white man. When I finally found that out, I was shocked. So even when women talking about, women want a broke white guy, but don't want a rich black man. I see that happening in the world. So I just don't understand how you're going to improve anything to make some woman satisfied. No, she like what she like because that's what she wants to like. Love is a decision that you have to make on a regular basis. It's an action word. It's not just some state of being. Black women look at it as a state of being. I do believe even the dictionary would talk about it as a state of being, which ain't true. Love is truly a verb. To love somebody, you got to do something. there's a burden that comes with loving somebody. You got to feed your child because you love your child. That's a burden. It may not feel like a burden because you love your child so much, but it is a burden to get up and provide for a child. It's a burden. Now I understand you may not get it if you living off the government and you getting EBT cards or whatever it's called in the other places. It used to be called food stamps. Wherever it is, whatever it is called, where you happen to be getting. Yeah, if you don't love your child and you just feeding your child through tax dollars, I get it. Go ahead, John. You about to say something? Turn around. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. You on the roll.
Yeah. I get it. If you ain't paying for your kid, you don't quote unquote love your child. I get it. But as a man, I kill you over mine. I ain't even got no kids yet. But if I have some children, and people be telling me, I should calm down about certain things. Now, I am never going to tell y'all that I wouldn't kill you over a child because that's just how it is. I don't even see that as a crime. It's not a crime to me, man. Trust me, if you let me on any jury and they say the guy done killed over his child, I'm not convicting, dude. We not having a conviction on that note because I just don't see that as a crime. You're supposed to protect your children. I actually don't truly understand why people won't kill over their kids. I don't get it. I'm not saying a person wouldn't have a rationale. Okay, maybe you got too much to lose, but if you kill over your child, I don't see no problem in that. Okay, I do believe you should not murder anybody, but killing somebody can become necessary. It just is what it is. The only thing I can tell about me, if I kill somebody, understand that it needed to happen. Because I ain't gonna murder nobody, but I kill anybody. Okay, that's just real talk. So it needed to happen if I did it. I ain't gonna never just kill somebody just because I can or nothing like that. Because I don't believe God want me to live that way. And I try to be a better Christian for real, y'all. I actually try to be a better Christian. I'm actually changing habits so I can be a better Christian. And that's real talk. But the Bible, when Jesus said the 10 Commandments, it said, "Thou shalt not murder." Now, I understand in the Old Testament, most people look at that and they say, "Thou shalt not kill." I don't believe they use the correct term to translate that in because God told people to go kill. Y'all remember when he gave them the promised land? Didn't he say, go out there and slaughter folk? So there is a time where stuff got to be done. See, God said, go out there and slaughter some folk. You believe you're gonna make it through, but you don't necessarily know. You say might fight back and you might go out, but you doing that for your nation. You're doing that for the actual God you serve. That's a sacrifice for something. And God say, if you do what I want you to do, when you die, I got all types of rewards for you. He's putting you in position to sacrifice for something. He don't tell us to sacrifice for nothing. And a lot of guys think it's noble to sacrifice for the sake of sacrificing. I can't even tell God agrees with that. What I read in the Bible does not tell me God agrees with that. He tells me sacrifice for a purpose. Sacrifice for something righteous. It's cool to die for your brother, but make sure that's your brother. That's all I'm saying. So women saying that black men need them, I don't know where, because I see black men achieve all these incredible heights. And I don't see them acting better just because a man got to those heights. I just don't see that. Y'all know why Denzel don't have no problems? Because we never hear about a problem from a public perspective from Denzel's wife. I believe her name is Pamela. Okay. Y'all know why Denzel ain't got no problems? It ain't because he Denzel. It's because Pamela is who Pamela is. Keep in mind, Denzel used to be a garbage man. Okay? He was a garbage man. Y'all think they wasn't married while he was delivering trash? Picking up trash? Yeah, he an actor now. He an Oscar winner now. Of course, I didn't gave him the Rufus Nice Guy Award. He got that now. But back in the day, that man was picking up trash. So it is what it is. So is his wife who she is because Denzel is who he is? No. She was her own person. And she was with him while he was picking up trash. Now, she believed in him, but there was no guarantee he was ever going to be a movie star. Wasn't no guarantee. Now, I'm pretty sure whatever house Denzel done bought, she was there the whole time. Now, I don't know if he done bought multiple houses. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. But I bet whatever he did buy, she was there. So when I say a woman's supposed to be with you anytime you buy a house, I mean that. Because Denzel was the trash man. And she was there. That's real talk. Well, we finna hit the 3-hour mark, so I guess I'm finna go ahead and end it. Turn around. Do you want to give any closing statement about black men should become better for black women? You want to hear any closing statement about this? Okay, I'm trying to run in the bathroom, y'all. Yeah, ran to the bathroom. I thought I heard you. You want to say something? All right, turn around in the bathroom, y'all. If y'all ain't here for making final statement when you call the pond, you are automatically in the bathroom. Real talk, y'all. So I'm gonna wrap it up. I think this was a great conversation. I think this needs to be heard by a lot of men. I'm gonna ask y'all to, pass it on to folk. Pass it on to folk. Okay, real talk. Don't be spinning around in circles, and don't be doing sacrifices for nothing. Okay. God loves us more than we can love ourselves. And he said, give me your life, but I'm going to give you a whole different life. I'm giving you something. Okay. Even God don't say sacrifice for nothing. And if God ain't asking me to sacrifice for nothing, how dare you ask me to sacrifice for nothing? Y'all have a good rest of y'all day. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right. And I'm out.